Tonight on the Black Channel. Don't believe me when I tell you who really matters when it comes to these movements. Don't listen to me. Listen to our enemies. The Black Channel is live. Unapologetic, unadulterated, and absolutely uncompromising. Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world, and welcome back to the home, the haven, the stronghold, and the everlasting superfortress of intelligent black thought. We are the Black Media, and this is the Black Channel. And I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the voice of Black America, the Black Authority, broadcasting to you live from the only historically black college university of higher education and learning in the cosmos. You are, of course, welcome to join us. And join us you shall, because on tonight's program here, just letting you all know, we are fully stacked and loaded on tonight's program. We got a lot of data to go over here, a lot to cover here. And so what I want to do here, and I got to be careful, fair use YouTube, y'all know is going to be something when I got to start off from the very beginning saying that. Fair use YouTube, fair use. Well, folks, the divide and conquer strategy is clearly not going as well for Jim Crow Joe Biden as he might have wished it were. Because here you are, several months before the actual election, and he's letting it be known that, by the way, he is terrified to death over there about what is happening, specifically with that black male vote. You know, the one that they've been sitting up here minimizing all this time. You know, the one they've been sitting up here telling you about doesn't matter all this time. You know, they've been focusing on anything and everything else out there, telling you, by the way, you just need to tag along, and whatever Hispanics are doing, you need to go ahead and go along with that. And as I've always sat here and told you, this is why where you get your information matters critically, because they're very, very concerned about it over there. Very, very concerned about it. Now, what I want to do here, I want to go to a piece from MSNBC. And Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski, their little show. And they were talking about Detroit. I'm talking to some fellas from New Era Detroit. Well, I haven't talked to Niggas Vu in a while. But they were talking to them there in Detroit. And this, I want you to hear what they had to say. They had Tremaine Lee. They had Tremaine Lee go and talk to folks. So, all right, that's what it is there. But I want you to hear what they had to say.
Of Detroit's most disinvested communities, a kind of hood first response team, but they feel invisible to those at the height of political power.
We are one of the leading organizers on the ground in the city of Detroit. Literally, the closest that you're going to get to black people in this city. We haven't heard anything from a Democrat or a Republican.
Men like them, in communities like theirs, could very well determine who is sent to the White House in 2024, with both Democrats and Republicans vying for their attention.
I got indicted a second time, and a third time, and a fourth time. And a lot of people said that that's why the black people like me, because they have been hurt so badly and discriminated against.
Black men have not benefited proportionate to other populations in terms of economic opportunity and economic health, much less wealth creation.
Wow. Did you hear that? Now, did you hear that? Well, I'll be damned. Skamala Harris, after all these years, and all these interviews and every damn thing else and dancing the damn Dougie with them weird ass suits she wears, well, I'll be damned if she didn't sit here and say, well, you know, we haven't done enough for black men in terms of economics and wealth creation. Oh, so you did know what we wanted all this time. You did know what the issue is all this time. You did know that this was what we've been talking about All this time, the same stuff you go and talk to your community, the Asian community about. Your community, the Asian community. Yeah, you know what you talk about over there. Well, take a look, everyone. Now that they've got her ass in a sling, well, all of a sudden, without missing a beat, she can immediately tell you, oh yeah, it's about economics and wealth generation. Words ain't come out of her mouth. All these years and whatnot, words that never came out of her mouth. Well, now, isn't this amazing? What do you all think happened? Do you think she just figured this out yesterday? Do you think that she didn't know that this was the issue all along? Do you think that's what it was? Or as I've been telling you all here forever, when you said, Jason, what are they going to do in the next election cycle? I said they're going to try the same damn thing. They're going to sit up here, and it's only when they start losing that they're going to start conceding. Damn it! We got to give them what they want. Folks, Malcolm X told you this decades ago. They've always known what it was. He said they want to give you a token because they know what you want. You want freedom, justice, and equality, which was economics. And he said they're always going to give you a pacifier because they know they can't give you what you actually want. He talked about that when he talked about they left their home, they left their broken down schools and built new schools in the suburbs. They left their homes and broken down homes and built new homes in the suburbs. And then he said, but can they abandon? He said, now black people are coming for the white man's job. That means the white man's economy. Can they abandon their economy the way that they abandoned their schools and their homes? No, not without violence and bloodshed. That's what we've been talking about the whole time, from Malcolm X to Dr. King. We came for the money. We've been doing it for 6 decades. Kamala Harris is very well aware of that. That's why they brought her family over here, because, there was some economic opportunity. She was like, I'll be damned, that'll work out. And so all this time we've been talking about economics here, and we've been beating it like a drum for the last 20 years, and they've been pretending they couldn't hear us. Oh, we're tone deaf. We don't hear about that economic thing. We've been saying the whole time, it's about the money. It's time to cut the check. And when they talk to Latinos and Asians and Jews and Arabs and LGBT, they go talking about money. And every time they come talking to us, they come talking to us about church, history. And yet when it's time to talk about the money, it's like, we don't know nothing about no money. Why do you need that? I got to go. We got to hop back on the tour bus. And take a look at that meek ass sheepdog expression on her face. Yeah, she's backed into a damn wall. But notice, once again, people, do not be mistaken. Once again, she isn't making any specific promises. Did you notice that? Now understand, this is the same game they play about racism. They'll sit here and now they've slowly, that you put them in a headlock now and in a stranglehold for decades. Now, as I warned you all, I told you they're only going to eke it out. They're only going to eke the subject out. Now she's had to come out here and break down and say the words economics and wealth generation, not money, wealth. So you see what the problem is, that our economic foundation is empty. And everybody else has one. We don't have generational wealth that we passed on. Well, isn't that amazing? Now she's been designated to go eke that phrase out and eke that term out. Just like Joe Biden eked out white supremacy, now she's here to eke out the term wealth generation to black folk. Yeah, but when we talk about white supremacy, they acknowledge racism and white supremacy. They've been acknowledging now for decades. The question is, what are you going to do about it? We're not here to get a pep talk where you acknowledge it exists. We ask, what are you going to do? So don't fall for the trick bag. Now she's saying black men and economics and wealth generation, but she isn't saying what they're going to do. She's just acknowledging, quite correct. This is a problem. Yes, you said this is a problem. Absolutely, quite correct. and then not a word about what they're going to do. And this is the result of us and our education campaign in the new black media to make sure everybody understands not to fall for the trick bag language. And I'm warning you right now, don't fall for this. Yeah, she's saying wealth generation, but this is more continued of the scam. Where's the action? Who's cutting the check? Who's running the money? We don't want you acknowledging that there's a sickness. You're supposed to be telling us what you're going to do. That's the game they play. Well, I'll go ahead and acknowledge what you're going to do. I'll acknowledge there's a problem, but I'm not going to acknowledge what needs to be done. Yeah, I'll tell you that. I see the problem just like you. Everybody sees it. What are we going to do? Oh, we're going to do more talking about the problem. We're going to do more talking about that. This was a bellwether moment here when they finally had to break down and use our language. Hell yeah, they know what we're talking about over here in the new black media. They've been sitting up here monitoring us and putting us on watch lists and every damn thing else now for over a decade and a half. They know what it is, and what they're finally doing and breaking down is they understand, yeah, this is the final third rail. We've tried everything else. The black vote ain't listening to the bull jive anymore. They're not listening to the bull jive anymore. Yeah, we want to talk about the economics. Oh, well, we can't get their attention without it. Well, see if you can reference it without doing anything.
Black men have not benefited proportionate to other populations in terms of economic opportunity and economic health, much less wealth creation. And so we just have to be honest about that.
And while
Okay, no. You don't have to be honest about it. You have to do something about it. Did y'all catch that? We have to be honest about it. Damn being honest. We ain't the old civil rights generation sitting around the church somewhere waiting for you to show up so we can dance the Dougie with you. I don't want to hear you acknowledge a damn thing. We already know it. And you know it too. You supposed to be walking through that door talking about what you gonna do. So you're just playing all the same old game all over again. Oh, yes, it's really bad. Oh, the issue is economics and wealth generation. And we have to be honest about that. Okay, honest me ass. You have to do something. And we've already told you what needs to be done. So you sitting here trying to stall for time. You don't go to other folk and talk about we got to be honest about it. You go to them telling them what you're going to do. Now you see it's a problem because you showing up for us because you damn right. When we get the economics in our hands, we are overturning the status quo. You damn right. That's the first order of business, which is why everything is concentrated towards distracting us. We'll see, we acknowledge that there's a wealth generation problem. Generational wealth, we acknowledge there's a problem. Yeah, but if you're not making specific promises of what you're going to do, it doesn't matter. You're dealing with a more sophisticated voter this time, or at least I'd like to believe that they are, because, oh boy. Well, the piece keeps going here, and I'll let you see for yourselves.
Biden has locked down traditional black voters. Black men are poised to become something of a swing vote. Some polling showing that Trump is on track to capture a larger share of black voters than any other Republican presidential candidate since 1996.
Now that tells you a failure of Joe Biden. If you'll all remember back in 2020, remember you had some of the clowns and trolls and brain dead morons out there trying to tell you, well, Jason, Joe Biden won the election. Your accuracy is no longer there. Joe Biden done won the election. I said, yes, and this is the worst thing that could have happened to them, because you see, before now, they could sit up here and point to Trump and say, well, we're not in power. That's why we're not doing anything for you. Now that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris won the election, y'all remember what I said? I said the onus is on you now. Jason Black don't got to prove a damn thing. You're the one who's got the keys now. You won the keys. Congratulations, you got the keys now. The onus is on you now. You're going to have to prove that you're going to do something. Now you are responsible for results now. You can't hold Trump up as the boogeyman anymore. Trump is out the way. Now you got to show your results. And they spent the last 4 years telling us, well, black folk, well, we got to see about Asians now. And y'all need to vote with Hispanics now. And what about LGBT? And Afghan refugees and Ukrainian refugees and Mexican refugees and refugees, will you please? we doing that. I mean, oh, wait a minute, we got to get certain. Oh, Jewish people now can't be anti-Semitic here. You can be anti-black. And then everybody asked me, well, Jason, what do you think they're going to do when they run out of options there? I said, they're just going to put them rinse and repeat. They're just going to cycle back through them. And that's exactly what they did. They went right back to Jews and Asians and LGBT. They're just going around in a circle, anything and everything to prevent themselves from stopping and actually addressing what the hell we're saying. We're saying, we're not playing the same damn game with you. We're not playing that game with you. And that's why here you hearing something different in the media. Now, they have tried to pretend that this sentiment did not exist. They have tried to pretend that this sentiment that you're about to hear here didn't exist before now. And now, even on MSNBC, they are having to break down like a hoe and admit, yeah, there's a different sentiment about what to do about Joe Biden not doing black folks' bidding. There's a different sentiment about what to do. And by the way, let me remind you all, the illegal alien vote, no swing vote there. All of a sudden, they're saying something different now. They're talking about the swing voters. Oh, yeah, black folk like it's always been. Not Asians, not Latinos. Black folk like it's always been.
Why do you think it's been harder for them to connect to us?
They just want to get the votes, and that's it. They don't care about nothing else.
People come to our communities and pander for our votes, and we know we ain't never seen this person before, ever. We know it's fake.
In recent months, Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, Donald Trump, and third-party candidate Robert Kennedy Jr. have all made trips to Michigan without visiting the kinds of neighborhoods that New Era works in.
You got to think, man, we live in communities where people, worrying about their next meal, where people worrying about, if they're going to be able to keep the lights on. We never seen these people. You know what I mean? They're not real people. And then when they come to, you just said, yeah, they come to Michigan and they come to these places, but it's not in our places.
Who among you is definitely going to vote? Raise your hand if you're definitely voting in this election. So just one. So you haven't decided whether you're going to vote or not?
I'm undecided as of right now. Me and my family, we're Democrats.
I don't know who I'm going to vote for.
None of us speak for all.
I got to say this here. Boy, I'm telling you, this is something else here, y'all. Did you get that? I'm not going to disrespect old boy. He might be friends with Nagus or something, but yeah. It's the old dudes. The old dudes and the old timers. It's, yeah. So, it's, as long as they in the mix, this is what we're going to be up against as long as they're in the mix. They're okay with things they're all right with things being where they are. They're all right with that. All right.
All black men, but I wonder if
not real people, and then when they come to, you just said, yeah, they come to Michigan and they come to these places, but it's not in our places.
Who among you is definitely going to vote? Raise your hand if you're definitely voting in this election. So just one. So you haven't decided whether you're going to vote or not?
I'm undecided as of right now. Me and my family.
Now that's terrifying as hell to the Democrats. This picture right here is terrifying as hell. Used to be that folks used to be real coy and real shy. Folks would ask them if they're going to vote and they would feel peer pressure. And I guess I got to go ahead and vote. Now they're sitting there talking to folks and they're sitting here saying it with their chest. Oh, no, I'm not voting at all. Sitting here saying it with their chest. Yeah, I'm not voting at all. No, I'm okay. Let me look in the camera and let you know, I don't think I'm voting. I don't think I'm voting at all. Now, that's a new one for them. That's a brand new one. They're not used to that. They're not used to seeing that. They ain't used to folks sitting down looking in the face and telling them, yeah, by the way, we ain't doing nothing. Nothing at all.
So just one. So you haven't decided whether you're going to vote or not?
I'm undecided as of right now. Me and my family, we're Democrats.
I don't know who I'm going to vote for.
None of us speak for all black men, but I wonder if the candidates were listening. What would you tell them that black men especially want for our communities?
Just want to see you, touch you. Just want to feel your vibe.
If you
Okay. I'm hoping that this was just selectively edited. I hope that Tremaine is doing what he usually does and selectively editing it. Boy, I sure hope that's the case. I hope that's the case. Because, I mean, when you were asked what is it you want and what you expect, it's like, wait a minute. You were sitting around, this was the answer? No issues. So they came all this way, and so what Tremaine is trying to tell you is that we looking for a politician to just come down and shake our hands. You know what they do with the old niggas at the church. We really wish the politicians would come down here and shake our hands. I don't want no damn handshake. You can cut the check without me ever seeing you. Come on, folks. Y'all can't fumble the ball like this. You got to know what the damn issues are. You can't sit here and get wishy-washy and shy and coy. You got to be ready to tell them straight up, cut the check. You are sitting up here financing all these other folks who don't need it. That's supposed to be going to us. We're the only folks who are not getting what we're supposed to be getting. You're financing everybody else. Cut the check. Just that simple.
This we're listening, what would you tell them that black men especially want for our communities?
Just want to see you, touch you. Just want to feel your vibe.
I'm weighing my words carefully because I know some of the cats with New Era, so I'm going to be diplomatic, but I'm going to say I'll be damned. Nobody did the briefing here. Who was in charge of the briefing before the interview? Who was in charge of that? Because he's telling you all I'm looking for is a friend. What about the issues, man? What about the issues? What the issue is, come on down here, meet us and come sit on the porch and drink a... No.
If you really want the black vote, spend more time in the black community with black people, hearing about their problems.
Back on this.
Okay, well, that's not good. With all due respect, that ain't good enough either. They know what our issues and problems are. Everybody is saying everything except economics. Everybody is saying everything except run the bread. Everybody is saying everything except wealth generation. Everybody is saying everything except cut the check. They're doing everything to try to dance around that. And this is what emboldens the politicians. It emboldens them because they sit up here and stare niggas down. They know if we stare you down, you gonna back off of that. And you're gonna say something else. Can you come down to be a friend? Can you come down to be a buddy? Can you come down and meet my kids? Can you come down to hug my wife? Can you come down and take a photograph? Gonna post it on the gram? I don't need to see you for a damn thing. Well, what does the black community expect? Jason Black, the same thing you've offered everybody else. You have offered them direct economic benefits, and we need to get everything they get in times 10. We need to get everything that they are getting times 10. On account of the fact that we are 10 times underfunded. And you know it's been engineered. So now you got to break the floodgates open. That economic development, I don't want to hear about no faraway stuff, no block grants or anything. It's time to cut the check. In New York City, y'all were cutting direct checks to Asians. In California, you're cutting direct checks for illegal aliens. In Chicago, you're cutting direct checks. You got billions of dollars for these other folk, and you ain't sitting up here talking to them about a rising tide lifting all boats. You just running the bread. Afghan refugees, Ukrainians, it's only when you come talk to us that the conversation becomes, well, we need to do everything except money. Except money. Whenever they come to us, they want to discuss everything except money. With everyone else, they get straight to discussing money. Come to us. Do you need a friend? Do you need a buddy? You want some religion? Maybe we can get together a scholarship right here. Can we talk about black history? I love talking about Carter G. Woodson. And then next thing you know, they done sat there for a damn 3 hours. And you talking about, well, I was with Joe Biden today. We talked about some things. We discussed some things. Did you discuss about economics? Oh, we didn't get around to that. What the hell did y'all talk about? I mean, why don't you come down here and meet our people? We came down here, the fish fry, and we got the chicken stolen. Because nobody wants to say the damn thing and just say, hey, it's about the money. Don't come down here if you didn't bring a bag with you. Where's the damn money? Come on, New Era, get it together.
Streets. The brothers of New Era are doing what they do best and what they say most politicians can't or won't do. Showing up for black people in a way they can feel.
What's up, bro?
I mean, do y'all hear these niggas up here sounding like Diddy in the way you can feel? I just want to touch you, just want to see you, just want to rub you down. This what the hell we get. Come on now, when it's time to discuss our issues, niggas want to break out into an R&B tune. What is this? Detroit don't need a super sexy love song. That's not what Detroit needs. We really don't. Folks, all I'm doing is reporting the news. You hear what the hell they're talking about. You hear what the hell they're saying. I'm just trying to let everybody know, by the way, no, that's not what we need. We need a real agenda, and folks is talking about their feelings. We want to see, we want to feel, we want to... What? I'm like, who else is doing this? So I'm just hoping that this was selectively edited and MSNBC dropped out the sensible stuff for New Era's sake. I'm hoping that's the case. Black America don't need a new best friend. Nobody goes to the Asian community offering friendship and a back rub. Nobody goes to them offering that. Matter of fact, they'll offer you one. But they come to us. Need a buddy? Need a friend? Want somebody to go to church with you? If you want to know why things don't get done, that's the reason things don't get done right there. Right there. Joe Biden knows they're in trouble. They know they're in trouble. They know they're in trouble. You go over here to CBS News. You take a look at the headline here again. And by the way, this is just from the last few days, folks. This is from the last week. And this one over here, MSNBC, this is just yesterday. Understand, folks, I'm letting you know I'm keeping you up to speed. I'm keeping you up to speed on this. This is up to the minute. They're letting you know that MSNBC, CBS, they're talking about black men. Why Biden is losing his support among black men. It's about black men. See, it's what CBS saying.
Today, the presidential campaign carried on.
By the way, fair use YouTube and CBS.
As former President Trump takes a break from his criminal trial to hit the shore, rallying thousands of supporters gathered in Wildwood, New Jersey. As for the Biden campaign, it has recently been working to rally its core voters too. CBS's Torian Small reports on how Biden's team is ensuring black men especially are enthusiastic.
Boy, y'all see they keep talking about black men from one network to another. Black men. What is the polling that the Democrats have looked at here? That Roland Martin can't galvanize what they're looking for. The polls must be pretty damn frightening because this time they ain't even trying to bull job their way through and wait till the last minute and say, okay, black men, come on. They're letting you know, oh, we recognize we're in deep trouble with black men because if black men are falling back, the women are going to be right behind them. That's what they're scared of.
Black voters helped swing Georgia for Joe Biden in 2020, but their support appears to be softening.
I mean, I guess it's the best we got.
I think my vote's the same, but it's less enthusiastic.
Folks, I mean, take a look at these folk they talking to. We got the old and whatever in the world is going on here. What island did his folk immigrate in from? No disrespect. Well, both of them right here. As a matter of fact, I'm looking at both these fellas and I'm like, okay, where y'all people immigrating in from here? Because you talking about everything. What the hell we need to be talking about? Why are you not talking about the economics? Oh, I think I would.
Vote's the same, but it's less enthusiastic.
Oh, actually letting people know about the election coming up.
And grassroots organizers are seeing signs black men are slow to return to his fold.
The young black men are more
Okay, folks. All right, I know what I'm looking at here. I know what I'm saying.
His vote.
That young black men are more likely to say that they will vote for Trump. But what I am most concerned about this year is that about 30% was still undecided at the time of our poll.
They're not undecided. They're going to stay home.
Now 6 months out, the Biden campaign is retooling its messaging to those unenthused voters.
It's why we're running organizing pilots last year in cities like Milwaukee, targeted directly towards black men. We're now at a moment in time right now in April where we're scaling up those operations. And
oh, you mean to tell me that Stacy Abrams didn't bring no votes? Is that what you mean? Exactly what I predicted to you the whole time. So Stacy Abrams didn't deliver any votes is what you mean. You're worried about Georgia because Stacy Abrams did not actually galvanize the votes for you is what you're saying. Yeah, exactly what you were warned about by me, that little bait and switch wasn't going to work. Yeah, it's going down exactly the way we told you it was going to. Exactly the way that we said that it was going to. Yeah, you didn't believe fat meat is greasy. Now we serving it up on a plate. Interesting. Might have sat here and benefited you to listen a little bit more. Yeah, Andrew Gillum and Stacey Abrams aren't moving the needle. That's what they're finding out the hard damn way. But it goes even further here because this, from Daily Caller, my goodness, CNN data guru breaks down how bad Biden is doing with black voters. Damn! I mean, the hits keep coming. Once again, this is dated yesterday, folks. So when you think about this, MSNBC, CBS, CNN, so all of them have gotten on code. That means they got that phone call from Joe Biden. We're in trouble. The news, information, and analysis that you'll receive absolutely nowhere else. I'm showing you across one network to another within the same time frame. They're talking about the black vote, black men, black vote, black men, black vote. Somebody is shook. Somebody is worried. All that talk about Latinos filling the gap and LGBT filling the gap and Asians filling the gap. And here we are 4 years later. And oh yeah, that's the whole idea, is make black folk feel like, well, he gonna win the election anyway, so y'all just need to come on along. Now they're letting you know it's like, it ain't working. It's not working. I want to go down here to the video. I want you to see what the man is saying here. CNN's pollster. I want you to hear what he's saying.
This is the real.
As the Biden campaign sees a drop in support among some black voters. CNN's Harry Enton is joining us now. How does black voters support look when compared to a few years ago?
Yeah, I think this is the real thing, is sort of the drop off, right? Look, you look at 2024.
Do you all see that? Because the issue isn't about Trump gaining. It's take a look at what Biden has lost. You take a look at what he's lost. You can see exactly where it was. And what they're showing you is that this is the difference between where the polling was now versus 4 years ago. All the folks who were talking about the black vote don't matter, Roland Martin, and all these other folks talking about how illegal aliens and LGBT and every damn body else, Mork and Mindy, were going to slip in here and fill the gap, remember? And that we just need to go along with what everybody else is doing. We just need to go along. Whatever they say, black folk, y'all just need to roll with it. Well, it seems like Black America's been listening to something a little bit different here, huh?
When compared to a few years ago.
Yeah, I think this is the real thing, is sort of the drop off, right? Look, you look at 2024, Biden still leads among black voters over Donald Trump, 69% in an average of polls. But look at this number for Donald Trump, 22%. Where was Donald Trump at this point 4 years ago in the polls? He was just at 9% of the vote. So he's seen more than a doubling in his support among African Americans. This margin, which was in the 70s just 4 years ago, look at where it is now, 69 minus 22. That puts it in the 40s. My goodness gracious. If this held through the general election, obviously we're still months away, this would be by far the best performance for a Republican candidate among black voters in a generation, 2 generations, probably since 1960 and Richard Nixon against John F. Kennedy. That's how long we're really talking about when we're looking at this margin here. This could be a truly historic margin. It's quite a troubling sign for the Biden campaign, Sarah.
So where is Biden weakest among black voters? When you look at this number, who are they?
Yeah, who are these voters? And let's break it down by age, because I really think this gives you a good insight.
Let's break it down by age. Very interesting you would say that. Didn't Jason Black just go on a rant reminding you all about, by the way, this is a generational thing. The baby boomers and the civil rights generation, all they want is a friend and a buddy and a pat on the back. But us new folk coming up, we want tangibles, and we're demanding tangibles, and that you're looking at this generational thing. I've been saying this now forever, and these news outlets have tried to pretend that they didn't know about it and wasn't true. Now here they are waking up saying, oh, hell, by the way, yeah, what Jason told you all. As I've always told y'all, maybe people will believe it if a white person says it. Maybe people will believe it. When I said it, folks weren't convinced. Maybe now that a white person is saying exactly what I've been saying now, going on over a decade, maybe now people will accept it now that a white man is saying it. Since I said it, we're going to argue with Jason. A white man says it, ooh, it must be true.
Yeah, who are these voters? And let's break it down by age, because I really think this gives you a good insight into what's exactly cooking here. Take a look here. If you look among black voters age 50 and over, you see that Joe Biden has a very substantial lead here. Look at this, 82% to 8%. This lead is still in the 70s. This looks a lot like what we saw in the overall polling back in 2020. But look at voters under the age of 50. Look here, Donald Trump is pulling 25% of that vote. Joe Biden is at just 62%.
20% drop off at the point where I told y'all over the age of 50, we're going to have to write a bunch of them off. They got their pensions and they don't give a damn what's happening. I've been saying that for the longest time. And I know we got a bunch of folk over the age of 50 here who listen in, but they know full damn well their peers. Yeah, most of them are trying to figure out how to check out. I've been saying that was the age cutoff. I've been saying this now for over a decade. CNN is bringing you all, letting you know, by the way, hey, Jason Black must be a pretty good statistician because he told you that this was the age group to watch out for. When Jason told you about who the old niggas are. You get the folks in that retiree age. Those of us who are still out here in the streets and still having to get it, that's a different matter. The folks who are sitting up here looking forward to their pension and looking forward to sitting back and falling back and perusing the Depends commercials and checking out the newest Metamucil flavor. Them the folks right there who are like, oh, Joe Biden, that good. Can't let Trump get through that. Need to get my prescription pills and my medication. Can I get some more Medicaid? That's their campaign issue that they're voting for. A bunch of little old ladies trying to preserve abortion. We talking about being economically viable and doing for ourselves and controlling our destiny. And the old folks are trying to figure out how they can keep their $4 prescription at Walmart. And don't give a damn what happens to the rest of the damn neighborhood. So now that CNN has confirmed the age cutoff that I've been talking about here forever, maybe people will believe it now. Now that they're saying the same thing, maybe folks will believe it now. Maybe they'll believe it now. Who knows? But we'll see. Now that I said it, maybe they'll go for it now. Maybe it's a little less frightening when CNN says, ooh, you know, I mean, there ain't a bit of an age thing going on right there. Okay, well, Jason said it, man, damn that nigga, he don't like it. He always be sitting up here dissing on us.
25% of that vote. Joe Biden is at just 62% of this vote. This lead, Sarah, this lead is just is south of 40 percentage points. This is historic. This is what a lot of folks have been talking about, that Joe Biden has a specific problem among younger black voters. And that is exactly what's showing up right here. And this is, I think, a lot of the reason why you're going to see Biden focusing more on black voters, why you're seeing Jim Clyburn go out there. Don't be surprised if they go to more colleges, because the fact of the matter is, older black voters still really much like Joe Biden. It's these younger black voters who very much are turning on him and being much more supportive of Donald Trump.
Oh, man. Now, you notice they didn't do a breakout for gender or sex there, now did they? They didn't do a breakout for gender or sex there, didn't they? They said the younger ones. Do you all understand what they're really afraid of? They are not afraid of what's going to happen in 2020 or 2024. They are terrified of what's going to happen in 2030, 2032. They're terrified of what's going to happen 2028. They're terrified of the future because they're taking a look at the polls and they're seeing that the Democrats are losing the future. That they might be able to squeak out one more presidential election, but after that, you enter the unknown. And yes, in the chat room, you're correct. He's talking about the younger black voters are turning on them. Yes, because they see us as their property, that they own us, that we belong to them. We're supposed to be supporting them. And if we're not doing that, then we're doing something we shouldn't be doing. As opposed to, and Joe Biden is failing to hold young black voters. He's failing to hold them. By the way, being under the age of 50 and referred to as young, I guess that's a little flattering there. But in any case, what they're saying is they're losing the future. And that is terrifying. To look up and say, by the way, take a look at the way the future is skewing, because they understand that young folk are more astute. They pay attention to more up-to-date current events, and they realize that this isn't a Biden problem. This is a Democrat problem. We see what you're doing. We see all the bait and switching. We see all the buffer classing. We see all of the benign neglect. We see all of the covert racism. We see it all. And marching out some biracial candidate to tell us, well, I'm halfway like y'all and you're listening to me. It's not working. So now they are acknowledging what the problem is. But once again, like Kamala Harris, they're acknowledging the problem, but we're neglecting to say what the solution is because they know what the solution is. You have been targeting us physically and economically. We need to have reparations and we need to have a hate crimes law so that our rights are protected and that we are restored socioeconomically to where we are supposed to be. But they are not trying to do that because everything is about being engineered to keep you exactly where you are. But they are simply acknowledging what I have informed you all about here well over a decade. My people cannot afford to be on the cutting edge. We have to be far ahead of it. I've tried to do my part to keep you ahead of it. Now you see as your corporate media outlets are finally catching up to what I've been saying forever. And you all remember I told you over a decade ago, when we're winning, you can't expect for the corporate white media to tell you that we're winning. If you're waiting for them to put up that headline, hell gonna freeze over and thaw. We're gonna have to be able to determine when we are winning. That means we're going to have to be able to analyze the events ourselves, analyze the facts on the ground, be objective about it. Don't blow smoke in your own ears about it. But we're going to have to be able to analyze the events and trends on the ground and be able to call these things for ourselves. What do you know? The new black media has called it years ago, and the white corporate media is following up years later. Do you realize how far behind they are? They're sitting up here trying to figure, they're listening to us. They're listening to us right now, as a matter of fact. Do you realize how far behind they are? We are the cutting edge. They are way behind. Way behind. the issues that matter, we're not going along with it. If Joe Biden say, well, go ahead and do that right there. And then that's not the response they're getting from us. And that is terrifying. Let me go ahead and go to another one here. This one is from News Nation. Now, gonna do this a little bit differently here. Don't want to play all the video if I can avoid it. But listen to what they're saying over there on News Nation.
Okay, we start with the guy with the longer resume. Is there something to be said that the old paradigm of looking at voters by race may be a mistake the Democrats are making, and they should be looking at them by class?
Yeah, because ultimately, and Scott's data points this out all the time, people make decisions based on their pocketbooks more than any other type of variable. So no matter...
So do you hear what News Nation is trying to say? Now, they're talking about Biden is in danger of losing young black voters. They're talking about the CNN poll here, and listen to what they're saying. Well, is it about race or is it about class? This is News Nation over there. And yes, you would be correct. They're talking about the black vote. They're talking about Biden losing black men. Where are the black men on your panel? And this is the garbage we run into here. Folks want to talk about us, but they don't want to talk to us. So I just wanted you to see that right there. They want to talk about us, but not talk to us. And then they want to try to tell us what the issue is. And I'm warning you all right here. Once again, there are a whole bunch of handkerchief-headed ADHD Negroes who sit up here and start trying to trot out this class stuff. Class is a way for them to circumvent that it's about race. Do not let them sit up here and change the subject and tell you that it's about class, your socioeconomic class. You're not targeted because of your class. You're targeted because you're black. Redlining is not about class. It was about black, and it still is. So don't let them sit up here and play this damn gaslighting on you. That, well, isn't it really about class? No, unless the class is black. That's what it's about. So don't let them sit up here and play that damn game with you.
And they should be looking at them by class. Said that the old paradigm of looking at voters by race may be a mistake the Democrats are making, and they should be looking at them by class.
Yeah, because ultimately, and Scott's data points this out all the time, people make decisions based on their pocketbooks more than any other type of variable. So no matter what race, culture, creed you have, you vote by what's going on in your own bank account and what's going on in your own family, what's going on in your own backyard. That's how Democrats should be looking at this, because when they try the one-size-fits-all thing when it comes to other cultures and other races, they end up alienating a lot of people. That's why that at times they have trouble with the Hispanic community, because what works for the black community may not work for the Hispanic community, which may not work for the AAPI community.
Well, isn't that interesting? So what you're saying is that minority coalition thing that we told everybody was bunk and to get off of years ago, in the case of Dr. Claude Anderson, decades ago. Well, what do you know? In 2024, they are acknowledging that, by the way, what works, what is the solution for Asians, isn't the solution for Latinos, and what's the solution for Latinos and Asians isn't the solution for black people. Well, I'll be damned. Well, we've been saying this forever. No wonder when we try to have a minority coalition, we find ourselves being undermined by these other groups, because he's sitting here saying what we've been saying forever. Well, as far as they're concerned, their interests run counter to ours. And what works for us doesn't work for them. Oh, well, then we better start focusing on what works for us. We better start focusing on what works for us, which is what we have been saying here for the longest time. And they're just now getting around to acknowledging that, because they're having to accept that, yeah, by the way, it's a whole different ball game at this point. So in other words, they're giving up on the idea that they can pitch us on a minority coalition. They're having to give up on that idea. We're not sitting around waiting for that. So they're trying to find a way to make an end run. Well, if you won't listen about minority coalition, will you listen about class? Everything to keep us from saying cut the check to the people that you have been depriving. Everything about that right there is what they're doing. So, folks, I'm doing my part here, and I'm showing you that I've been talking about this forever. This is the kind of thing that these folks have been trying to avoid speaking on and pretending that it doesn't exist. They've been acting all this time like what I've been talking about does not exist, is not a factor. Nobody's paying attention to that. Oh, we don't know anything about that. That doesn't really matter. We don't need any of that. Oh, that doesn't even exist. What you all want are scholarships. You all want scholarships. You want scholarships and prescription medications and marijuana. That's what you all want. And sitting here talking about class. Yeah, the problem is that black folk are in the lowest class across the damn board. And that's because we are being targeted as a group. So that's what needs to be dealt with. It's time to cut the check. So everybody's trying to talk around the issue. Everybody's trying to talk around it. Hell, even where the HBCUs are concerned, there was a story on BET about that. How the HBCUs have been outrageously underfunded. I meant to get to that last week. As a matter of fact, I wasn't able to, but I meant to get to that last week to talk about that. I mean, we're talking about underfunded to the tune of billions of dollars. These other folks are not speaking on that, but we're talking about they're underfunded to the tune of billions, not millions, billions of dollars. And yet you don't see your Democrats or anybody else doing anything about that. And that's coming from the Department of Education. So you don't see them fixing that up and saying, okay, well, hey, we found where y'all are messing around. All we're doing is making sure that these institutions are getting what they're supposed to be getting here. No, it becomes something damn me else. It becomes something else. Matter of fact, I might not get a chance to do this again. Let me go ahead and throw this up for you all.
No offense, but if you still think
okay, I think yeah, as a matter of fact, if y'all think that it is, you got a lot to. Oh, folks, these hairs. Okay, I know this is an ad, but the hair. What is the hair? What is?
Welcome to another edition.
Y'all remember Chris Tucker from The Fifth Element or Sixth Element? Was it Fifth Element or Sixth Element? Y'all remember Chris Tucker from The Fifth Element? Yeah, why does she look like Chris Tucker from The Fifth Element? Expect her to bust out singing. I don't know what was going on.
Of America in Black.
Fair use BET and YouTube. Now listen to this. Let me go ahead and skip forward here a little bit because I want you to see. They're saying they started here in Tennessee and they went looking over the books in Tennessee and found out they were being grossly underfunded. And that was the issue that they were having.
Probably a couple of years, and the CFO and I were going through the financial statements, and I kept noticing this line that said transfer.
Transfer, meaning?
So that was the question. So it's like, transfer, what are we transferring? And her response was, that's the funding that we're not receiving from the state.
Funding of public land-grant colleges began during the Civil War with the Morrill Land Act of 1862. It provided resources for every state to set up public institutions with a focus on agricultural research and education.
So do you all see, the laws are already on the books about what we're supposed to get. The laws are already on the books. This is why it's bullcrap to let them keep running us around in circles and talking about what we're not supposed to get and that be discrimination against white folk. The laws are already on the books about what we're supposed to get. What they're not doing is honoring and obeying their own laws.
But black students were rarely admitted. So in 1890, the federal government gave states two options: accept black students or fund a separate school for them. Most southern states chose the latter. By law, states were supposed to equitably distribute what the feds paid out.
Do you see that? By law. By law. Okay, you don't find Ed Blum or anybody going to the Supreme Court. Ed Blum is not at the Supreme Court about this now, is he? To our Jewish friends out there, by the way, can one of y'all go dial up Ed Blum and tell him, oh, by the way, here, if you want to look like less of a white supremacist, although in this case right here, it wouldn't help you at all. By the way, yeah, this is the kind of thing we'd like to see. We would very much like to see that kind of thing. As a matter of fact, I would like to see some of our pro bono Jewish attorneys stand up and say, you know what? And when Ed Blum goes to the Supreme Court, we're going to be right there to fight him. That would go a long damn way, by the way. Ed Blum is sitting up here wilding the hell out. There's a whole lot of pro bono Jewish groups out there. Anti-Defamation League. You can jump up anytime you want to here and come put your dude in check. Just saying.
Cool for them. Most southern states chose the latter. By law, states were supposed to equitably distribute what the feds paid out and provide a one-to-one match from its own budget. Tennessee didn't do that for more than 100 years, according to its own budget records.
When we talk about reparations, I didn't get to talk about this last week when I was talking about the schools robbing the students. I didn't talk about this last week. We got off into the NCAA, and I wasn't able to talk about anything else. I meant to touch on this story last week. Folks, over 100 years. Don't tell me a damn thing about, well, that was a long damn time ago. Don't let folks up here and tell you a damn thing about it's a long time ago. This has been a running tab. You've been keeping this up for over a century. And the truth of the matter is that all these other states have some version of this deliberate malfeasance of the funds. All these other states have some version of it as well. So when you're talking about that going on all this whole damn time, oh, you damn right you got to cut the check.
Latter. By law, states were supposed to equitably distribute what the feds paid out and provide a one-to-one match from its own budget. Tennessee didn't do that for more than 100 years, according to its own budget records.
So I called in Representative Harold Love, in whose district TSU resides, to see what we could do to get this funding.
Here are budget books in here from 1957 to 2020.
Representative and TSU alum Harold Love Jr. now chairs the committee investigating where the money went.
So I want to show you
chairing the committee. So we all know where this goes. Oh, there's going to be a committee. There's a committee to investigate where the money went. All right. We all know where this goes now, don't we?
Investigating where the money went.
So I want to show you actually the budget books that I looked in to discover TSU's underfunding. So you look at UT's funding here. You see UT Ag, UT Ag. Tennessee State, no land grant funding.
So no funding.
Not even in the budget.
And then through his research, Love found that his father, Representative Harold Love Sr., had raised the issue back in 1970. Releasing a report to state lawmakers, a report that remained buried for more than 50 years.
So in other words, this man and then his father, who was in the legislature, we've been going on longer than a lot of us have been alive. Talking about, man, they've been sitting up here depriving us of what we're supposed to get now, not for just decades, but a century, not years, but decades, a century. And this has become generational theft. You damn right you got to cut the check because this is generational theft. You don't have any white schools or predominantly white institutions that have stories like this going on year after year, decade after decade, industry after industry, piece after piece, from affirmative action to education to every damn thing else. This is why we can't sit up here and be nice about this no more. They already know what they've been doing. At this point right now, we through talking. Cut the check.
Why would they shelve this information?
I think you're talking about systems. It's not individuals, but it's systems. Systems where people put money in the budget, the next group of bureaucrats carry out that work.
Okay, he was starting good right until he got to this part. He said, you're not talking about individuals, even though it is individuals who are committing the murder. But when he says we're talking about systems, yes, it's a system of white supremacy. And it is generational. They pass the baton from one to another and say, by the way, keep these niggas in their place. By the way, we rigged the budget here to starve the niggas of any funding here. Your job when you take this baton from me is to make sure they don't get this. Change everything else, but make sure that you don't touch this over here. This is how we keep them where they are.
And you go into decades and decades and decades of this.
Well, let's talk about the people in charge now.
Sure. The initial response from most people down here was that the underfunding did not happen. But we said, no, Tennessee State is different. There's a federal law that requires that we be funded in an equitable and just manner. We're like UT. We're supposed to get land grant matching funds.
We would get $2 million matched from the state, $4 million, 5.5, any number of numbers we could receive from the state of Tennessee, but never the full match. And so my first response was, why don't we compare to the other land grant university to see how they're faring with their match?
You raised the issue.
Yes.
In 2015, the state owed UT Knoxville less than $16 million, but paid them $58.9 million, nearly 4 times more.
Well, now isn't that amazing? So the state was supposed to pay $16 million, but what they gave was 4 times what was actually required. Wonder what they do with the black folk.
In comparison, TSU should have gotten $6.5 million, but only received $5.7 million.
Now that's not accidental. That's not accidental. That's white supremacy. UT Knoxville was only supposed to get $16 million. They gave them 4 times what they were supposed to get. TSU was supposed to get $6.5 million. They gave them less than they were required to give. This is how white supremacy works. And then white society tries to play dumb about it. When we tell them about how we've been historically underfunded and continue to be underfunded and how we're owed, and we're owed this going back decades and centuries, everybody starts acting stupid and starts playing dumb. Ooh, I don't know what you're talking about. How you figure that? Don't you got to work for that right there? Why, we gave them money like we gave everybody else. We give them plenty of money. They know damn well that we're being underfunded. They know they're stealing it from us. They know they're keeping it from us. They know that this is what the game is supposed to be, is to deprive us. Take a look at, when you see this kind of disparity right here, TSU could never catch up to the University of Knoxville. Could never catch up when you're giving them 4 times as much as they asked for, which is multiples more than what you're giving them. They'll never catch up. You gave them almost 10 times what you gave TSU. You gave them over 10 times. Do y'all get this? They gave them more than 10 times the amount. 10 times the amount. This is how you keep this a permanent underclass, when the folks you up against are getting 10 times what you're getting. There's no conceivable way that you will ever catch up to them. You can't. That's the problem right there. And this is not an accident. And they do this everywhere in every state. When it comes to educating black folk, this is why that scholarship thing is a damn scam. When it comes to us, you're not going to beat this with a scholarship. The only thing you can do with that scholarship is leave TSU and go to an institution that's actually properly funded. But this is artificial. These folk over here are not getting what they're supposed to be getting. Put to the side whether or not the HBCUs use the money and spend the funds like they're supposed to. The bottom line is clearly they're not getting what they're supposed to. If these folks, this should be commensurate or proportional to each other. If you give them twice what they're required, these folk over here should get twice what they're required. If you're giving them 4 times what is required, these folk over here need to get 4 times what is required. And they're actually getting less than is required. Where is your president to come in and say, we bypassing Tennessee and we just going to drop the bag off to these institutions ourselves since y'all want to play them games? Matter of fact, we're going to pull funding from Tennessee's university schools to make up for what you owe these folk over here. Oh, what about that conversation? Because as far as I'm concerned, this is no longer the number. This is right here. This 58 million, that's the number. If it's 4 times what they're supposed to get from here on in, it needs to be 10 times over here. Do y'all understand that? They'll sit up here and try to tell you that's unreasonable for you to say 10 times. No, you need to make up for what you've been starving them for and discriminating against them for and depriving them of. You deprive them of 10 times what they're supposed to be getting. That means you need to be making up for that every year. They need to be getting 10 times this amount. That's reparations across the board.
That inequity dilemma is faced by almost all land-grant HBCUs.
Now, did y'all see how they filled in the map with those other states? Because I was telling you, by the way, it's not just Tennessee.
$6.5 million, but only received $5.7 million.
Watch the screen.
That inequity dilemma is...
Yeah, you saw how they filled those in with me telling you, by the way, those aren't just southern states either, is it? Those aren't just your typical Confederate southern states now, is it? By the way, just tapping your shoulder here to let you know, by the way, that's not your typical so-called Confederate states that have done this either. But this isn't about class, this is about race. We're not poor because we're poor. We're poor because we've been targeted and engineered into poverty because we're black. We're not poor by accident or because of a lack of a work ethic. We've been engineered to be poor and kept there, and now they're showing you how they're literally cooking the books and committing fraud in order to keep us there. And I'm just showing you this is not just the typical Southern Confederate states doing it either. And it's not just Tennessee. Tennessee is the one they're talking about here, but you witness this happening everywhere, including Ron DeSantis' Florida. By the way, just thought I would throw that in there for you.
Faced by almost all land-grant HBCUs. In 2023, the Department of Education released a 30-year study confirming nearly $13 billion is owed to land-grant HBCUs across the country.
Do you all know they gave more damn money than that to the Ukrainians? Now, if we tell them go ahead and cut that check directly to these HBCUs, they gave multiple times this to the Ukrainians, to the Afghans, hell, to the illegal aliens. They've given more money, way more money than this, to the illegal aliens. And yet this is what they've been depriving us of for decades. So you ain't gave us what we supposed to get for decades, but you making sure folks who aren't even citizens are papered up. With Joe Biden leading the charge, talking about how that's a virtue for us to make sure that the illegal aliens get fully paid and get taken care of. And the mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, well, we got to take care of the illegals now. Got to do that. And Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are sitting up here telling us, vote for us so we can continue to neglect you. This is no problem right here. The Department of Education can sit up here and just say, yeah, we're not giving any more money to these states at all for their higher education. We're going to drop the bag off of these folks who have been historically underfunded. But then again, you couldn't get them to do that for the black farmers. We still waiting on that. And this is the damn game we keep playing. They still waiting on that.
Let's acknowledge that they're punching above their weight while not getting the funding that they should have gotten.
They say that, and then, okay, Mr. Cardonia, and what we gonna do about it? Pretty sure you're gonna take care of his folk now. What are we gonna do for these black folk here? Everybody keeps acknowledging the problem, saying what the problem is. Everyone will acknowledge the problem, but when you get around to talking about, by the way, what are you gonna do about it? Oh, well, we're looking into it. Now, for everybody else, they cut checks. Illegal aliens, you find money to give them and throw a damn check at them. And then they go to New York City and set up a red light district. You owe us now for over a century. And, well, see what we can do here. You're having these big problems over there.
That they're punching above their weight while not getting the funding that they should have gotten.
Federal agencies issued letters to every governor calling out the state debt owed down to the dollar. Tennessee Governor Bill Lee responded.
Much of what this federal conversation is about are things that happened 30 years ago. I'm focused on what we're doing today for TSU, and we'll continue to do that.
And that right there is white supremacy in a nutshell. Well, that was 30 years ago. I'm focused on today. Excuse me. You set us back you gave yourselves 100-mile head start? No. You got to focus on what you've done, because that's the only way to fix it. When they say we're focusing on today, that's them saying, yeah, we're not going to fix it. Yeah, I'm focused on today. Oh, that big inequity that we created, yeah, we're focusing on where we are now. We're not going to address that inequity. And that is white supremacy in a nutshell. When we bring these things up and then everybody starts playing dumb. When we bring this up and everyone starts playing stupid, that's white supremacy.
So you don't know where the money went?
I don't know where the money went. We just know where it didn't go.
And that's the game we get played with us. We don't know where it went. We just know where it didn't go. We just know where it didn't go to. It didn't go to us. And then when Ford wants to build a plant, they want to jump on the black town for it. And then your schools, we are people who are targeted. And when we talk about a hate crime bill, this also means that we need to address the problem of protecting us from these white supremacist states. We need to have these things protecting us from the entire state of Tennessee and the entire state of Florida and the entire state of Louisiana and all the other states too, because white supremacy is not a southern states problem. We ain't gonna play that game. And it needs to specifically address the needs of the descendants of the slaves, period, point blank, end of discussion. Not everybody else. It needs to specifically focus on us because we are the ones who have been targeted. These land grants are talking about us. These are talking about us. They targeted it because it was us. The former slaves got themselves freed, and they've been instituting this walking system of slavery ever since. And so when we talk, I want y'all to be very, very clear. I'm the one who gave you the phrase reparations across the board. I want you to also understand when we talk about hate crimes, we need to have universal hate crime protection, which means not just protection from individuals. We need to have an acknowledgement that most of these states are operating as white supremacist criminal enterprises, sitting up here targeting us. And that hate crime legislation needs to acknowledge that that's what it really is, that it is systemic, and systemic means the legislatures and the governors are the crime bosses organizing, targeting us in all of these various sophisticated ways. Your legislation is not complete if it does not acknowledge that, by the way, the legislatures of these states and the governors in these states are part of the apparatus that is targeting us, that they are consciously doing so. And that when it is time to fund us, that it must take that in, when it's time to protect us, it must take that into account. That this is, because when you say that, what you're acknowledging is this ain't happening by accident. This ain't happening by accident. Governor Lee and Governor DeSantis and the rest of these clowns, this isn't by accident. That this is basically an organized crime, criminal racketeering operation targeting us. A better word would be domestic social terrorism. And you've got these social terrorism groups masquerading as state legislatures. When we talk about hate crime legislation, it needs to acknowledge that these state legislatures are acting and behaving as white supremacist front groups, specifically targeting us. And they've been doing it forever. In other words, black folk need to get, each black person in America needs to be getting at least 10 times what we're currently receiving, because we've been deprived over 10 times what we should have been getting. And it's not accidental. From the workplace to the schools to the media to politics, everywhere you go, that's how we're targeted. That's where they got us at. However, you might disagree. Therefore, the telephone lines are now open. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Your personal access code to the blackest radio program in existence, the only one of its kind on planet Earth today. As always, you are welcome to join us. Want to send a shout out here to my man, Jafar. Thank you for your support on tonight's program. We appreciate that. To Mark B., my man Chadwick, and to everyone else who has contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo. Also, though, to those of you who are in the Super Chat here as well, to all the new channel members, welcome. Thank you for your support, and welcome to the Haven of Intelligent Black Thought. Just Do It Right, Justin Winfrey, Cameron Fairchild, Chief Rocka, Fierce as None, and everybody else here. Thank you very much. Oh, Nancy King. Forgot about you, Nancy. Can't name everybody here, but thank you to all. You're all listed over there, and I appreciate it. We're going to take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. When we come back, we will take your phone calls and more. This is the Black Channel.
Hello, my name is Steve Burgess, and I'm the author of this book, Guidelines for the Successful Student, a closer look at parenting your school-aged child. In this book, I've explained the role of the parent and the student in addition to what accommodations, procedures, rewards and consequences and expectations that need to be in place to ensure student success from primary to high school. This book is available on Amazon.com. For more information, please visit my link tree at Easy One-on-One, and to access my latest podcast, A Teaching Moment with Mr. B. Thank you all for listening.
A white supremacist assassin seeks revenge. Corrupt FBI agents with evil intentions. Dangerous black collaborators dedicated to treason. Occam Jeffers must defeat them all and somehow survive. One misstep and he's a dead man. Join Occam Jeffers as he looks the devil in his blue eyes and tells him, Black First. A sequel to the underground hit War of the Heart, Spirit of 1811 Publishing presents God Love Us, on sale at Amazon. Pre-order and save today. Visit spiritofo1811publishing.com and show your love.
Order yours today to experience all the benefits of Ash Kickin' Body Butter. With skin so smooth and soft, you'll thank us for it. Shop Ash Kickin' online. That's ASHKICKIN.com.
Hi, this is Brenda Starr, creator of Poetry with a Purpose and author of the book Pressed But Not Crushed. Pressed But Not Crushed is an anthology of political poems that address current and historical issues in American descendants of slave population and African American population. The book describes slaveries and its residuals, Jim Crow segregation, social depredation, and other relevant issues to American descendants of slaves and African Americans, including the current political climate that does not address our issues.
This is the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Very glad to be with you all here this evening, and the telephone lines are now open. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Your personal access code to the blackest radio program in existence, the only one of its kind on planet Earth today. As always, you are welcome to join us, and the telephone lines are now open. So you all can definitely go ahead and give us a call here as well. Let me go ahead and light that up for you here. All right, please make sure you have everything in order. Let me get caller from area code 469. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Thomas calling from Dallas, Texas.
All right, Thomas from Dallas. What's on your mind, brother?
Oh man, Jason, I appreciate everything you're doing tonight, man. Everything you're saying is totally true. I just want to say thank God for the new black media, man. If it wasn't for you guys, man, the Democrats they'll be winning right now, because without the new black media, man, we'll be still lost in the wilderness, man. What the new black media has done was put our issues, foundational Black American issues, on front page, and they can't go around it now. They can't go around it. They can't go up under it. We cut the check is the issue, and they know it. And whatever happened to the black woman was the backbone of the Democratic Party. So they're not even pushing that anymore. They know that black men is on code and black women is on code with black men. They can't push that divide anymore.
Yeah, you notice you're not hearing that LGBT, that bait and switch thing, that divide and conquer thing that they thought they had refined down to a fine science. Right. They're definitely showing the cracks in the wall, because remember before they were really trying to push the women and LGBT women, that right there, the men don't matter. And what they were saying, this is the cynical calculus that all of these the Lily Adamses that I told y'all about years ago, the Lily Adamses, their cynical calculation was that black society is a matriarchy and that everybody bows to Big Mama. And if you get the black women to say, okay, go this way, then the men are just going to say, okay, let's go. And that was the cynical, evil calculus that they were making. That if we tell the women go this way, then the men will have to follow. Well, guess what? It's a full election cycle later, and they're now acknowledging, well, that one came up ass up. So what else do you got? So yeah, what they are acknowledging is it failed. It didn't work. You're not hearing any of that energy this time around. Now they're talking about the young. That's why I was pointing out, by the way, they didn't make a distinction for sex or gender there. They're talking about the young. And this is a terrifying moment for them.
And Jason, those numbers are actually worse than what they are portraying on the media. Those numbers are way worse. Because they haven't really polled every black person in America. That number is they know it. And only problem I have with those new era guys, man, when you get before the media, you gotta speak, and you know the issues. Just say cut the check. Stop beating around the bush. We don't want no pep rally. We don't want no meeting. Like you said, you don't have to be present to me. Just cut the goddamn check. I could be way on the other side of the moon. Cut the check. That's the issue. It always has been the issue in America. I mean, look at what they're doing to the black colleges. We know you go to an HBCU, they falling apart. That's why. So they've been running game on us forever. Cut the check. Be one, Jason.
Black First, brother, thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. I mean, yeah, we cannot be apologetic and meat-ish. And the other thing right here, I've talked about this before. If you run up on the James Clyburn or one of these media folk there, y'all got to be ready there to say, hey, this is the issue. When it comes to reparations, no committees, no what you've done previously, HR 40 ain't it. No committees, do what you do. What do we want? We want you to do the exact same thing for us that you've done for the Ukrainians and Afghans. You cut the check. No committees, no conferences, no commissions, no studies. For the illegal aliens, you cut the check. Well, damn it, we are owed 100 times what any of them are getting. You're going to do the same thing for us that you did for them. Cut the check. What do you expect from the politicians who come down here, Jason, for them to cut the check? The illegal aliens are here. They don't even have anybody who's elected in office to represent them, and yet they're getting representation and funding. And here we are being given excuses for what we need to talk about everything except that. No, when y'all everybody out there, y'all need to be ready. When you get in front of these cameras, the bottom line is tell them cut the check. You cutting checks to everybody else, and they don't need it. The folk who you've done the most wrong by and the ones you're targeting every day, we're the ones you ain't cutting nothing to. No, cut the check. Wait, you just want us to give you money? We want you to give us what we are owed. You need to give us what we are owed. You don't owe the Afghans nothing. You damn sure don't owe the Ukrainians nothing. And you don't owe a bunch of illegal aliens a dime. Y'all need to at least be ready to just say that. You give us the same thing you're giving all the rest of these folk because they're not owed anything, and yet you done broke the bank for them. And the people that you've owed now for 160 years, you sitting up giving us excuses for why you handing our money out to everybody else. They're prospering, and then we keep coming back every year talking about why black folk are still behind. Because you keep giving our money to every damn body else. Cut the check. Call from area code 928. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Bruce from Arizona.
Okay, Bruce, from where at in Arizona?
In Parker.
All right, Bruce in Parker, Arizona. I think I flew through there about 100 miles an hour. And what's on your mind?
I'm 72 years old. And ever since I was young, when I got turned on to Malcolm X, I have always felt like this country owed something. And to hear you always speak about cut the check, which is what even Martin Luther King said, and they cut that out. Oh no, they don't play that when it's Martin Luther King Day. Oh no, they don't put cut the check in there. But that's what he was about. And you know, all I'm saying is, when I talk to my relatives, we're not interested. All we care about is church, and you know, and I'm saying, but what about the election? We don't talk about that. Well, okay. So I've always felt like you, and what you're doing is A-okay, and I'm all for it, and, you know, that's all I got to say, you know.
Well, I appreciate it, brother. Thank you very much for checking in with us tonight here. And like I say, that's why I said it 20 years ago. I wasn't the guy talking about it. I was the guy doing it. I talked about it 20 years ago, that my focus would be on the next generation. My focus would be on the young. I wasn't trying to convert the folks who were a little bit older than me back then. Those of you who've been listening to the Black Channel the whole damn time, we wasn't really focused on the folks who were a lot older than that because they had already accepted their fate. I've always said that. They just want a peaceful death. They worked at the General Motors plant. They had some bastard kids. They caught a few STDs, had to dodge them child support payments like dodgeball, and then just said, okay, well, damn the rest of it. If they could get them a little house out in the suburbs or something, that was it. And they left the young folk to their own damn devices. Now you got a bunch of old people trying to get booked on the Tom Joyner morning cruise. But the folk who are out here working and making things snap can't get nothing from it. So in reality, a lot of the older folk have basically, I'm going to say it, become collaborators with the white supremacist society. Oh, I said it. They have become collaborators with them. They're the ones who were telling us to get out the streets after Trayvon Martin, get out the streets after Mike Brown, get out the streets after Eric Garner, get out the streets after Freddie Gray. It was the old folk telling us to get out the streets. It was the old folks sitting up here asking where y'all getting that money from to bail these people out of jail, making all that noise in the streets. It's the old folk who were telling us that. Yeah, because they're not getting pulled over by the police anymore. They've been cowed into submission. But for those of us who have not been butt broken, it's a whole different thing. We don't even talk like them. Caller from area code 415, you're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
It's Marcus from San Francisco.
Marcus from San Francisco, what's on your mind?
I know you discussed this before, but I was having a debate because I was at one of the fraternities, and the president of the fraternity was trying to do something for his community, for the fraternity, the members, and he wanted to give out scholarships, and I just didn't have the vocabulary because I forgot what you said, because you said it so long, you said it so great. Can you say it again? Why is a scholarship a bad idea for black people? In the form of giving black people something. Scholarship is bad.
Well, a simple question. Number one, what was taken from us was not scholarships. In a word, when somebody tries to hit you with the, well, why don't y'all we don't need to give you cash payments. How about we give you some tokenism? This is what we've been falling for the longest damn time. Malcolm X spoke against this, and the Black Panther spoke against this, and I've spoken against this. We don't accept any tokens. I told you what it was we needed. I don't need somebody else to tell me what we need. I told you, hey, you got to give back what was taken. And every time the conversation comes to giving back, specifically what they took, they start trying to get into a negotiation about, well, can I give you something else? Can I give you something else that may have some value, but not give you what I took from you? And that's not the way that works. So to make it short, brother, for those of you any of these folks here who try to hit y'all with the scholarship thing or the diploma thing or paying for tuition thing, please understand what was taken from us was not scholarships. So whoever's telling you that is trying to get around giving back what was actually taken from you. So forget everything else. That's your response when somebody brings up a scholarship. Scholarships were not what was taken from us. You took money from us, and you need to restore money to us.
What I meant was in the context, like, let's say the Black Channel had let's say you had a fraternity that you have like 10 members, for example, and you're not a white man, you weren't the white government doing it, but let's say you're the head, but you wanted to do something for the members. Like, why would that be a bad idea? Scholarships. That's what I was trying to refer to.
Well, the other thing is, when you take a look at black folk who do make it through college, what happens when they hit the economic workforce? So that is also a scam, because our issue is not getting through college. Black women have more college tuition debt per capita than anybody else by a mile. It isn't that we're not going to college. It's not that we're not going to school. And it's not that we're not graduating. You're getting this college credential. And then and that college credential is supposed to give you some sort of leverage in the socioeconomic system. And what you're finding out is that your scholarship and your tuition doesn't give you leverage in an economic system that runs along racial lines. So they're leaving that part out. In effect, your college diploma, your college degree has no value because they're not allowing you to leverage it in the workforce anyway. You're last hired, first fired. Economies run along racial lines, or at least in this country, it's being executed along racial lines. That's why focusing on your tuition and your scholarships isn't working and isn't going to work. I can promise you that we can send you something from the government to pay your tuition, but I cannot promise you that that tuition that we paid for you, that the degree you get will be honored when you go into the workforce. Now that I can't promise you. Now, if you knew for a fact that your degree was not going to be honored when you walked into the workforce, would you still be so enthusiastic to get it and run up that tuition?
No.
Simple enough?
Yes.
Thank you very much for giving us a call. Folks, what I'm saying is y'all got to be ready to answer this right now. You've been listening to me for over a decade. You're not supposed to be sitting here getting entertained. You have to be an activist to stop asking where the freedom fighters are. You are the revolution. You are the resistance. We've been teaching this now for over a decade. You're supposed to know how to snap this back off the top of your damn head. It can't be that everybody's got to come back here to call a specific phone number to talk to me. Everybody's got to know this. Everybody's got to adopt this. Everybody's got to memorize this. Come on now, man. Especially if he's a college student, he's supposed to be memorizing all this. That's his obligation. You walk in these situations and all these folks do is ask one or two questions and you're thrown off your square. And it's like, okay, see, we ain't got to give you nothing. See you in 4 years. Now, what the politicians do, they're just trying to buy themselves another 2 to 4 years. Once they see that you're not really paying attention, it just becomes, okay, well, let me just make it through this election cycle, and we're going to buy ourselves another 2 to 4 years. And when we come back in 2 or 4 years, rinse and repeat, we're going to buy ourselves another 2 or 4 years. And then they keep doing this. Next thing you know, a century is passed when it could have been shut down from the beginning. Caller from Area Code 412, you're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Denise from South Carolina, Columbia. How are you, Jason?
All right, Denise from Columbia. What's on your mind?
Yeah, well, we're going to discuss about this HBCU, Morehouse, and going down there. And I did a little research and found out that David Thomas is clicked in with Eddie Glad Jr., who is Princeton and Yale. Plus, they got 3 board trustee boards who are Jewish. They are clicked in with the ADL as well. And this is a political move for Biden to go down there to try to drum up black men vote to go down to the school to get for Georgia. And we see it's happening. And they're playing a chess game, but we see it. We see right through it. So Biden and them, and Biden flew someone down there from his, not his cabinet, but someone who represents the Biden administration down to Morehouse to make sure that the men, to make sure that everything's going to go with the students, to talk to the students, say, okay, look, we're going to listen to you. We're going to do this A, B, and C. But David Thomas told them if they make any type of noise about protest, well, we don't care about the war over there in Palestine and Israel. That's not our thing. But if any of them make noise on that he's going to shut it down. So his board of trustees told him to shut it down. So how are you going to tell people who worked hard, paid their tuition to go there, so they can't protest, and then you got parents coming down there? And it's just something about it's all fishy to me.
Look, your HBCUs are, the problem with the HBCUs is that they effectively behave as extensions of the Democrat Party. And we don't need schools that are extensions of a political party. We're supposed to have schools that are extensions of our community. Yes, I know the HBCUs were not even black started, but that's not my point. Let's not get bogged down in the weeds, folks, out there for the slow bus kids. The bottom line is most of the HBCUs have been behaving as extensions and organs of the Democrat Party. And when you do that, what you've already said is we're not serving your interests. Massa showed up today, and that's what it is. Now, I do want to tell you all what the solution for the HBCUs would be. The solution for the HBCUs is actually very simple. The federal government needs to take out $300 billion and set up an endowment at every single one of the HBCUs. Just like you have it at Harvard and Yale and these other places, the federal government needs to say, okay, we are going to force the balancing of this budget, and we are going to set up an endowment at each of these schools. We're going to set them one up, and that'll be what keeps them flush from here on in. At that point there, then you're going to have the Ku Klux Klan marching on the damn schools. That's what you're going to have. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. And by the way, if y'all want to throw a few shekels here so we can get the sister a 9-volt battery, I would hate for something to happen at the house there. So if y'all want to throw a few dimes here on PayPal or Venmo or whatever in the super chat to the 9-volt battery fund, she sounds like she's on point otherwise. So if we can help her out with that, she'll be golden. Caller from Area Code 410. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from? Last try. Caller from Area Code 410. You're on live. All right, caller from Area Code 410 has been abducted. Caller from Area Code 323. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, good evening, Big Brother Jason. This is Brother Elijah calling out of Brooklyn, New York.
All right, Brother Elijah out of Brooklyn. What's on your mind?
Brother, I got 2 questions for you. The first one was New Era Detroit. I started following them right before I found out about you. I started following them in July of 2017. I thought them brothers was doing good work and everything like that. So one of the brothers get kicked out of that Reverend's church, accusing him of taking money out the community, and he got kicked out, and the church ganged up on him. We fast forward here, okay? They got the cameras sitting right in front of them. And this proves why I stopped following them. All the good questions what does the president needs to do for us, and they seemingly just dropped the ball.
I mean, what it is folks, when you have a lack of an agenda, I'm pretty sure Tremaine went to go speak to them because he talked to them beforehand and he listened to what they had to say. And it's like, oh, they don't really have an agenda. What they're saying is this is intended to influence the rest of us to believe that what we're looking for from the politicians is a photo op. We need the politicians to come down and show that they acknowledge that we exist. And my goal is they already know we exist. That's why the hell they avoiding us. They know we exist. We're not supposed to be fighting to get acknowledgement. That's the old niggas' agenda. Our agenda is we know you know we exist. That's why you know that if we don't show up, you're in trouble. So if you don't, just understand, run that bread or we staying home. I'm voting couch for president and recliner for vice president 24.
Yes, sir. Brother, my other question, what are your thoughts on this Mr. Robert Kennedy? It seems like
he had his opportunity to support reparations, and he made it very clear that he gonna try the Marianne Williamson route, which is, well, I know y'all getting messed over about the reparations. I ain't so sure about that right there. So okay, that's fine. Because here's the real thing about it. Here's the real thing.
Yes, sir.
The real thing about it is, I didn't ask none of you bastards to try to role play this or war game how this will go through legislation. I didn't ask for that. I'm saying that you need to state this as a principle, that whether you can get legislation for it or not, as our representative, if you want me to vote for you to represent me, you have to represent my issues. So whether it gets legislation or not, are you willing to, they didn't sit up here and tell gays that, well, we can't support your agenda unless we can get the law passed. They didn't tell them that. They said, we'll represent your agenda and then we'll figure out how to get the law passed. And what I'm saying is, if you're going to be our representative, every time that's their way of getting out of representing them. Well, vote for me, but I can't really speak up for you here, then I can't vote for you. If you know this is my issue, you should think of it like being a lawyer. I'm going through this explanation because I want y'all to understand this. Think about this like being a lawyer. For anybody who's ever had to hire a lawyer before to fight a criminal case or a civil case where you're filing a lawsuit, there's one question you have to ask your lawyer. You have to ask your lawyer, do you believe I'm innocent? And I'm telling you right now, it doesn't matter what the lawyer thinks. If you're paying this person to defend you and they can't even crook their mouths to say to you, yes, I think you're innocent, simply to get you to hire them as a client. If they can't do that with you, then how the hell are you going to go through a trial with them? Well, if this person is going to be your representative, he should at least be able to crook his mouth to say, I support reparations, whether he actually does or doesn't. If he can't even bring himself to utter the words, you a damn fool to think that he's going to push no agenda for you. At the very least, by getting him to say that publicly, anybody else who votes for him has to at least tangentially sign on to the agenda, even if he never supports it or he never pushes it. At least he was a cheerleader for it. At least he was publicly speaking for it. At least he was publicly your advocate. Now, I'm not saying that you can stop at being just an advocate. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is, by the way, at the very base bottom, at the very bare ass base bottom, whoever you're supporting should be able to at least say the words, I support reparations because this person behind me I want to vote for me wants reparations. So I support it. I didn't ask you to tell me we're going to get it. Can you go out and publicly articulate that you support my interests? Because when it comes to Israel, nobody asked whether they were going to win the war with Hamas. We support Israel. Okay, well, do you support me in reparations? I don't know about that there. I mean, there's a lot of folks out there. I mean, hard to get through I didn't ask about how hard it is to get through Congress. I asked about how hard it is to get through your brick ass head. That's what I asked about. And if you can't bring yourself to say those words to me, I can't bring myself to the polls. I'll let you have the last word.
Sir. No, B1, brother. No, thank you so much for answering my questions. All right, enjoy the weekend, brother.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. No games played, no nothing. If you're going to vote for a politician, they should at least be your advocate. They should at least be able to say the words. Legislation to the side, he should at least be the chief advocate and chief cheerleader for your agenda. At least he should be an advocate that says your words. Isn't that supposed to be his job? That he gets in the office and he's sitting there speaking on your behalf, has nothing to do with legislation passing. You should be able to sit there and point to him and say, that's my man sitting there pushing my agenda. That's why folks support Trump today. Because win, lose, or draw, he has always supported the agenda. Win, lose, or draw. Didn't matter how it went down, he was backing them. He was backing them. He was at least their advocate, and they respected that. At least he could bring himself to say the words that they would say. They didn't have to wonder if their message was resonating with the guy at the top. At least they knew for a fact whether we win, lose, or draw, I am being heard by the person I'm supporting. At least I'm being heard by the person I'm supporting is actually listening to me. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, we don't know about reparations. And, generational wealth, some things is wrong. Caller from area code 951. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Jason, how you doing? It's the Church of Black Power out of Houston.
All right, brother. What's on your mind?
Yeah, so I just want to make 2 quick points. So if you're going to listen to the new black media, I suggest you take notes, because everything that I heard literally has come to fruition. From the old nigga situation, my own professor within at the HBCU who teaches African-American politics even came in with her own mouth telling the class that, as her older generation gets older, we're going to have to band together and figure out how we're going to have to outvote their interests as an older generation. So when you speak on those old niggas, they're telling you out of their own mouths that we're not voting with you guys, even though we're the same color. That's one. But also, when you talk about how the media will not let us know when we're winning. When I ran up on Ron Reynolds and held his feet to the fire about reparations, the very next day he was on the Isaiah Factor. And he was on there with another Democrat and 2 other Republicans, speaking about how the parties does nothing for the black community and their black voters. So I just wanted to bring that to light. Everything that you say tends to come true. Everything that we speak about in the new black media tend to come to light if you pay attention. B1, have a good night.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Power comes from the soil up. It doesn't come from the top down. You are truly empowered when power comes from the soil up. I've told you all, progress was going to be glacial, but if we were consistent, progress would be inevitable. Yes, progress has been slow, but if we are consistent, progress is inevitable. This thing didn't get in this mess overnight. You're not going to fix it overnight. Not going to happen. Let me send a big shout out here to my man Third Eye Open. In the super chat here, he said he's voting for President Couch from the living room party as his best candidate. Can't lie there. NJ Williams cut the check. We appreciate that. K-Bye and everybody else here, thank you very much for that. We appreciate that. By the way, I'm like, is every other person calling in tonight got a 9-volt battery failing on them tonight? Yes, sir. We're going to have to start, forget handing out, backpacks and stuff. We're going to start handing out fire extinguishers and 9-volt batteries because some of y'all are living on the edge. Let me get caller from area code 651. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Good evening, Jason Black. This is Bill calling out of Minneapolis, Minnesota.
All right, Bill out of Minneapolis. What's on your mind?
I just wanted to personally say a great broadcast tonight, and everything that you've said over the past couple of years, and you basically have said it over a decade, has pretty much come into fruition. I mean, the fact of the matter is that the Democrats, they know what we need. They know what we're requesting of. And every time when you hear, Kamala Harris run her mouth is basically all lies and contradictions. They know what is needed, but the thing is, when you listen to her talk, especially the tape that you played earlier tonight, the thing that really alarmed me was that what the issue is, but I didn't hear any solutions or any other things that you're going to put on the table to basically require for the vote.
Oh, but she's on Twitter. But she's on Twitter 24/7 stomping for abortion. Now she does know what she wants to do about that. She knows specifically what she wants to, the tangibles she wants to give for abortion. She knows specifically what she wants to do there. She shows up in front of us, and all of a sudden she starts playing dumb.
Yep.
So it's never a mistake.
I mean, that is. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just that she knows what she knows, and the Democrats know what we actually want: reparations and anti-black bill all across the board. And then they just like to continuously play dumb. I guarantee you this: when it's all said and done, they're gonna looking at the losing end, and they're not gonna regret it at all, because as long as they try to keep us in the lowest category, that's all that they care about. And I have no confidence at all in what the Republicans do either, because they're both in the same boat. As you said many times, both the Republicans and the Democrats are both part of the same boat. This is what it is.
No, they're both twin wings on the bird of white supremacy. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. We appreciate that. We got over 5,000 people in here live on a Saturday, so folks are taking some time off from their sports to join us. We are very, very glad to have you here with us as well. Let me get a caller from area code 404. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, Jason. It's the Facts of Life from Atlanta.
All right, the Facts of Life in Atlanta there. I think Joe Biden has been down there harassing you all. What's on your mind?
I just have a question. So what is the biggest fear about us getting reparations? Are they afraid we're going to all stop working?
No.
Or what's the fear?
Ever since the end of chattel slavery, there has been an intrinsic, biological, really chromosomal fear in white society. You saw this fear get articulated in Quentin Tarantino's Django Unchained. They've been walking around now for over a century and a half with the same constant phobia. Jason, what are you referring to? In the movie Django Unchained, you remember that Leonardo DiCaprio, as Calvin Candy, sits up there and says, the old slave used to work for my daddy. He used to shave his beard every day. You could give him a shave. And he said, now, if that had been me, I would have slit my damn daddy's throat. And it wouldn't have taken me 50 years neither. And what I'm saying is they've been walking around all this time with one intrinsic fear. They know what they did to us. They know the magnitude of it. They know how bad it was. It's the kind of thing that rightfully throughout history has overthrown entire nations. They've been waiting for the day that we do something equally as heinous. That's what they're afraid of. That they know that we haven't forgotten, and they know we haven't let it go. They are in mortal fear of what their grandfathers told them. You can't let them Negroes free. If you do, one day they're going to rise up against you. They've been waiting for payback all this time, and don't you see they're not letting it go? So at some point, they're coming. Now, whether or not this is actually valid is immaterial. That's what they believe. And so everything has been geared towards making sure that that day doesn't happen, including, that their fear is mortal because they've been launching all these preemptive strikes. All the Black Wall Streets, those are preemptive strikes. The police terrorism, preemptive strikes. The George Zimmermans, preemptive strikes. All of them are sitting around saying we got to get them before they get us. And understand, if this is what black folk have been able to do as an oppressed underclass, what would we be able to do if we were actually properly funded? Why, you wouldn't even need the whole black population anymore. 5 or 10% could get the job done then. Remember, Jewish society is only Asians in Jewish society, only 6% of the population. Remember that. They're not 14% like us. They're less than half our numbers. And yet, Take a look at that. So they are in mortal fear. Dr. Francis Cress Welsing talked about that they have a fear of genetic annihilation. In America, it's a fear of social annihilation. That one day we're going to get the means and you don't have to be scared of black folk if they ain't got no tools to come after you with. So every generation passes on the word. Like I said before we hand you this baton to the next generation, by the way, keep the Negroes where they are. They'll rise up against you one day because they have every justifiable reason for doing so. All we know is they've been, in their minds, Dr. John Henry Clark taught us, I'm referencing all these people so you all know that I'm not making this up on my own. Dr. John Henry Clark taught us that in the European society, in their mind, everything that moves for war. So as far as they're concerned, if it's been 160 years, every year that goes by, we're getting ready for a bigger explosion. That's the way they read that. They read that as, wow, the pressure is building even further. That's the way they read every year that falls off the calendar. Now that you understand that, will you want to get those people properly funded if you truly believe that, by the way, look at what Ron DeSantis is doing. Take a look at what Tennessee is doing. Take a look at what Louisiana is doing. Do you want to properly fund those people? Take a look at what they did to sports. Take a look at what they did to entertainment. Take a look at what they did to pop culture. They're already your social leaders. What would they do if they were ever properly funded and became your economic leaders? What would they do then? And last but not least, even in the words of Keith Olbermann, even if that never happened, take this from the perspective of the white supremacists, even if we never did it, even if it never happens, even if we never act on it, even if we never go on a grand campaign of revenge, if we are giving reparations, then what's to stop us? I'll let you have the last word.
And that's why they keep us impoverished and uneducated and simple-minded and fighting each other, because they have the power.
And the goal is to make sure you don't, because they've seen the miracles that we made happen with some crumbs. Imagine if we were actually given the loaf that we are owed. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. They've seen how we have put ingenuity and taken it to an art form, what we did with a few crumbs. They've been trying to make sure we didn't even get a slice of bread. If you gave us the whole loaf, it's like, oh, this would change and transform the world as we know it. And most of all, frighteningly enough to all of them, it would be the end of white privilege. Asians are not trying to deconstruct white supremacy. They're trying to enhance it. Latinos consider themselves a part of it. We are the only ones who have stated openly that we are dedicated to the task of dismantling white supremacy. We're the only ones who said that. And if we're properly funded, that's the end of white privilege. White people would have to do something that they've never actually had to do before. Earn what they get. We would not be using our position to discriminate against anybody. You would no longer be artificially handicapping us. Now we can run as fast and fly as high and as fast as we want to. Well, you'd have to actually compete to keep up. It would no longer be a birthright handed to you, no matter how slow and inept and incompetent you are. You would have to actually stop pretending you're competing to keep up, and you'd have to actually start competing to keep up. That's all. No one would be discriminating against you. You're scared that will happen because that's how you got where you are. That's why you're so terrified, because in your mind, nobody can be number one if they're not discriminating against other people and holding them back. So if you get any sort of equity, you're going to go straight to work discriminating. It's like, we don't even think that way. That's your wicked mind and your wicked psyche. Buddy, we don't have to cheat to beat you. Floyd Mayweather didn't have to cheat to beat none of y'all. Muhammad Ali didn't have to cheat to beat none of y'all. You're the ones who have to cheat. We ain't never had to cheat. All you had to do was open up the damn door. Hank Aaron, O.J. Simpson, Emmett Smith. All we needed was an opportunity. All you had to do was give us a shot, and that was it. We never had to cheat to beat nobody. We never had to hold you back. And as a matter of fact, when you see Michael Jordan against Larry Bird, it's like, by the way, we are so good at competing, we making it look like we cheating on you. We making it look like you moving in slow motion. And when they saw that happen, they're like, I'll be damned. We can't, how are we going to compete against that? Because let's just keep it all the way funky. Black people are the biggest hustlers the world has ever seen. And by hustling, I mean making a dollar out of 10 cents. We are the biggest bread flippers the world ever saw. Because we gotta be. We are the most ingenious about that. The paper chase don't never stop for us. No matter how rich we get, no matter how affluent we get, the paper chase don't quit. And we do that for pride. We do that for honor. When you see our marching bands and whatnot, we doing that as a source of pride. It's like, hey, the money for us is symbolic of achievement. It ain't about the dollars. It's about proving we the best. And that's what drives us and fuels us. That's why you see so many black folk, they get rich and then they just go back to living humble. It's like, it ain't really about doing the rest of that stuff right there. It's about, I done proved what I had to prove. Now imagine if we had the economic reins of power and we were no longer encumbered. Now you have the ability to do like Elon Musk, crazy stuff you think about. Now you can actually fund it and make it happen in the real damn world. Well, guess what? These other folks who have had everything handed to them while you've had everything deprived from you, now they have to compete against that. Oh, you ain't just talking no more. You can actually have, why do you think we go generation after generation talking about, by the way, we're not giving loans, we're not giving funding. They killed us out of the jobs. Yeah, everybody is on code to make sure that we're economically deprived. If you demonstrate that you are a threat to the system, they get together and gang up on you. Every job you go to, all the managers, all the banks, hell, for some of you city council members, yeah, when they see that you're a threat, it's like, oh, this ain't a nigga just trying to get by. He's trying to get over. Everybody gets together and gangs up on you. And what is it that they attempt to attack first? Your money. They're showing you that this is what they consider to be the key to keeping you under control. If I can control your money, that's it. And we're just saying, no, we're not going to discriminate against anybody. We're just going to be the best we are. Well, hell, I'd have to work a lot harder. Well, yeah. I thought you told everybody you pulled yourself up by your bootstraps. Call America 321. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from? Call America 321. Last try. Caller from area code 321 has been abducted. Caller from area code 240. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's up, man? It's JB from DC. How you doing, man?
All right, JB from DC. What's on your mind?
Hey, so actually, my question to you is this: like, so hypothetically, if they were to give us reparations, right? How would you actually give this out to black people? Because the same way you give it to the Jews and to Native Americans and to the Japanese, the same way you gave it to them, the same way you're giving it to these illegal aliens coming over here from all these places who aren't even citizens, the same way you're giving it to them. Right, no, I understand that, but what I'm saying is, like, you have so many people that's like in mixed relations, like you have black and whites, right? So the thing is, by default, if you're giving it to some people that like are in mixed relations, then like you also be giving.
Okay,
it to,
I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you mean by mixed
don't.
relations. I don't know what that means.
Like say like a black like an interracial couple, right? Like a black
okay,
person and a white person.
Okay, here's the issue here. Brother, that, like I say, that's borderline pocket watching. It's borderline that. We cannot control every variable. This is about a debt that is owed and eliminating a societal evil. If there are people out there who choose to misuse it, or at least don't use it in a manner that you would consider to be most advantageous, it's theirs to do it with. So if they want to sit up here and go empower the same society that's been oppressing them all this time, and then at the end of it, they end up right back where they were, that was their decision. Please remember, we've had this issue since the plantations. Harriet Tubman said it. I could have freed a lot more slaves if I could have convinced them that they were actually slaves. So, like I say, brother, it's theirs to do it with. It's not up to you or me to sit up here and look over their shoulder. It's up to you to have a plan for what you gonna do with yours. Not watching what's happening. You can't eat well looking at another person's plate. So if that's theirs, if they want to misuse it, if they don't want to take advantage of it, it's theirs to not take advantage of.
Got you. Okay. That's all I wanted to say, man. Thanks a lot, man. Hey, have a good night. Be one, man.
B1, thank you very much for giving us a call at 9. Look here, folks. I know there's a temptation to try to optimize things, but the bottom line is we're not doing this because everybody's on code. We're doing this for everybody who's owed. Everybody who's on code, this is your opportunity. Everybody who sits up here and plays with it, well, you had your shot. You had your chance. You must be one of the descendants of the folks who were sitting up there trying to get back to the plantation. But it's not our job to peek over everybody's shoulder. It's our job to make sure you get what you're supposed to have so you can make happen what you're supposed to do. But it's not your job to peek over everybody's shoulders and talk about who they with or this, that, and the other. No, if they're owed, that's what they're owed. If they want to sit up here and mess it off, it's theirs to mess it off with. But this is about what's owed. We can't get bogged down in arguments of, let me see who that is over there. What they doing? What are you doing over there? That's owed to them. If they're screwed off, that's for them and their parents to settle. Y'all know how that goes. These folks up here and do that. And next thing you know, it ends up in the hands of these other folk. Oh, well, you had your chance. Call America Code 954. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah, Jason, this is Willie from Hollywood.
Okay, Willie from Hollywood, where?
Hollywood, Florida.
All right, Willie from Hollywood, Florida. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I was calling because, it's about right and wrong. You know what I mean? You got people in there like you got your good buddy Al Sharpton and stuff. He's supposed to be a minister. Evidently, it's right and wrong. He act like he don't know right from wrong. You know, what's being done is an evil sakes that is definitely wrong. So these things here, he should either, if you can't say what's right and wrong, you shouldn't even open your mouth. You should keep your mouth closed, period. Doesn't matter who you are or where you come from. If you can't get on there and say what's owed to the people, you do not need to be in front of a camera. Keep your mouth closed. It's for the people that know what to say, know exactly what's owed to be paid to the descendants of slaves. And if you cannot speak on that behalf and you get in front of a camera and you get shy, you don't need to be in front of a camera at all. You need to just stand aside and let someone else get up there that's know exactly what to say. Because if you're trying to impress the Caucasians, they don't give a hoot about you.
Yeah, I mean, definitely this is one of those things there, that you have to make sure that, I mean, this is a gut check for us. Like I said, it's just a reminder. It's a reminder that everybody knows there's a problem, but that we got a responsibility down to the last man, woman, and child to be able to articulate what our agenda is. We cannot sit up here and get in front of cameras and be groping for it when somebody just directly asks you, what is it you're looking for from the politicians? Come down and shake some hands and let me fill you up.
And check. That's what it should be.
Yeah, it's just a reminder that we got to keep hammering home the message discipline. Now, I'm not putting it past MSNBC that they specifically chose people who, or edited in such a way that it removed other things, because I don't have access to it, so I can't confirm that. But I am going to use this as a teaching moment to say, hey, every time we talk to these folks, we got to make sure that when they ask those questions, that being on code means we all have the same answer. Because when you ask white society what to do about us, they all have the same answer. I'll let you have the last word.
And one thing about it, when you ask them a question and stuff, they all know if they shouldn't be speaking, they know to zip their lips. Too bad that black people don't have this in their heart or in their head to use their brain to think. And if you can't use your brain to think, evidently you shouldn't be out there trying to open your mouth. You should keep your mouth closed. Because if you're going to throw a monkey wrench in the program, you should keep your damn blasted mouth closed. Because evidently you was born, if you can't do what's right, you weren't born tonight. You act like you were born last night. So you should do what is right If it's not going to benefit the people as a whole, keep your mouth closed, plain and simple. And if you ain't got that there, either you're stupid in the brain or stupid in the mind and stuff, and you ain't going to never see the light, or you don't want to see the light.
Well, I think in many ways, they think that they are articulating the agenda. I think that's it. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Undisputed Truth there in the chat room. Yes. Cameras can make you capitulate. Yes. Remember, I told you all, if they know that they're being watched by white folk, a lot of folk understand this, there's going to be consequences for this answer. Talking to other black people, there's not consequences for that answer. If you're talking to white folk are watching, there's going to be consequences for what you say. So whatever it is, you better be ready to stand by it and stand on it. So all of a sudden, when folks know they're being looked at, it's like, okay, they might get a little wobbly. Call America 559. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, calling from, I'm out here in Oakland, California. My name's Martin.
All right, Martin in Oakland, what's on your mind?
Oh, man. So I would start off just by saying, as I'm hearing what this Asian woman has to say, right? It's just funny because it just reminds me of him sending out one of his henchmen to go handle what's going on down here. And then I also look at Jason CNN being not far left, but like mid left. So in other words, she's talking to a correspondent who's used to these democratic issues. And it's almost like her friend. She's on CNN, she's comfortable, but it's complete opposite of what she said the last time she talked to us, right? Last time it was, I'm not going to sit up here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. Now, that's what she said last time. Now it's like a complete opposite.
No. Very deceptive. I got to stop you there. Now it's like it's the opposite. Actually, no, it's actually more of the same. Because remember, she was being pinned down last time about doing something. And this is where the conversation always comes off the rail. When we discuss, okay, what's the action you're going to take? When she discussed taking action, she said, well, I got to do it for everybody.
You're right.
But now what she did this time was she's articulating the problem. Well, yes, black men are concerned about economics and generational wealth, and there's a problem there that we have to address, okay? Mm-hmm. The real thing is, was she asked after that, so what are we going to do? And then when she starts giving answers that apply to everyone, it's like, hey, man, that's not specifically for black people, because she was asked what you're going to do specifically for us. We didn't ask her to specifically repeat the same thing we saying. We asked, what are you going to do? So don't get taken in by a trick bag on that. In reality, she's just doing the same thing. She acknowledged these things before. She's acknowledged what we complained about before. It's once you get to that doing part, that's when she starts talking about, I can't do something for just you.
Yep. 100.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Like I say, this is one of the first times this is the first time I've heard her talk about generational wealth and black men and generational wealth. That's great. But that's great and wonderful that you've acknowledged that, but I would be perfectly fine if you acted on it and never acknowledged it. Because the Ukrainians didn't have to get her to do that. Asians didn't have to get her to do that. Jews didn't have to get her to do that. Afghans didn't have to get her to do that. I don't give a damn about being acknowledged anymore. I want the agenda and the solution acknowledged. Not slogans that are here to lead you to imply that you are being acknowledged. That's the whole game they play with us, is they'll repeat what we said, but then will not repeat the solution that we said. Oh, yes, you're right. That's very much a problem there. And right when it's like, okay, time to talk about that solution. Well, I can't just do something for just you. So we're going to bring in Asians and Hispanics and Latinos and Arabs and LGBT. And next thing you know, we've been tossed to the side again. Everybody else gets a check. And then you're telling us, okay, well, make sure you vote. We'll get to you next time. That's what they're doing now. Actually, they're not even doing it now. They're not even giving us the get to you next time. They're going around the country trying to tell us, hey, ain't we did a good job for you? That's what Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are saying right now. Well, haven't we done a good job for you in the last 4 years? Ain't it been great? Meanwhile, you're up there in Chicago being displaced by a bunch of non-citizens. Call America 312. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is Zeb, calling out of Seattle.
All right, Zeb out of Seattle. What's on your mind?
This whole softball remedies when it comes to us, it just makes me harken back to, I don't know if you recall, but I told you I doing a case pro se, and I'm actually getting traction. The judge recently denied the defense's motion to dismiss the case and granted my motion to amend. So that's a win for me. So, I spoke to the lawyer on the side. He actually offered me an apology. He asked me would I be willing to accept an apology and to be reinstated back at CMAR, because CMAR unlawfully called the police. They unlawfully called.
Okay, I think he thought he was calling up legal aid, and no, brother, this is the Black Channel. So, yeah, wrong number. Caller Miracle 347, you're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Peace. Jason, peace to the Black Channel experience. One of the things I want to start with is just by saying
your name?
Anthony from Brooklyn, New York. Sorry.
Anthony from Brooklyn. And what is on your mind, yes, Anthony from Brooklyn?
With regards to this Democratic Party that has a history and a legacy of deceiving black folk. You mentioned Malcolm, and everyone's familiar with Malcolm's words from the 60s, I think 1964, where he mentioned in that recording that they had, the president at that time had not only the White House, but had the House and also had the Senate. And black people still weren't able to leverage anything for having that from giving the Democratic Party all their support. And he said, if you continue to give them your support after not being able to leverage anything with all of that, he said, you are a traitor to your race. And I think we need to go further than just maybe not voting or whatever. We need to punish the Democrats because they, in our face, blatantly try to disrespect us. I remember whenever something right after Biden was in, something came up with the LGBTQ community, and he specifically used the word reparations with regards to trying to, when he was making the point that their partners weren't able to receive funds from them after they died because it wasn't a legal marriage. And he purposely used the word reparations because that was on the table at the time, and he wanted to mock us and Biden in particular.
And we beat that down. Now, when they tried to do that, remember the first thing we did was we beat that down. Let's be very clear about where the problem and where the disconnect has been. The problem and the disconnect has been that when it is time for us to articulate our agenda, folks tend to get wishy-washy. They tend to want folks to show up for graduations. And then folks get real scared to just come out and say exactly what it is that we need. For fear that they're not going to get approved of, for fear they won't get a photo op, for fear that other folks are going to be upset. You Mr. Biden coming to the graduation. And what I'm saying is that what you're talking about punishing the Democrats, that begins with first and foremost saying something very simple, doing something very simple that they're not accustomed to. They are accustomed to some loud malcontents disrupting an event. That's what they're accustomed to. What they are not accustomed to is things like you got right now, over 5,000 people listening in here live right now. That's thousands of people. And it'll be watched by many thousands more when this gets uploaded. What I'm saying is that that can decide whether or not Biden wins Georgia. That can decide whether or not Biden wins Michigan. The biggest act of revolution that a person can possibly have is to think differently and speak differently. I know. Please understand, I've been doing this longer than any of you. I know that it seems so minor and seems so inconsequential. But here's what I want you to understand, brother. You already get it. Okay, but you can't be a one-man army. You're one guy who gets it. And as uncomfortable as this might be, You're not in a battle of bullets and bombs. That would be easy. I could just send you to a gun range and help you get your aim together. You're winning a battle of hearts and minds. That other people who live their lives in families that are basically plantation minded, that now they have to be told, you know what, that nagging feeling you got, yeah, that's real. That's the truth right there talking. And to get them comfortable, because understand, in your case, you probably don't have a problem telling your mom and your dad, okay, y'all is wrong and coonish. You probably don't have an issue doing that. Do you realize most people do? Do you realize most of them can't bring themselves to do that? Most of them can't bring themselves to sit up here and call it out for what it is for fear of what will happen to them and their families. I get that phone call, remember, every week. Somebody's calling me talking about how their family feels about it. So what I'm saying is everybody's not where you are. And that's where the real fight is to get more people where you are. If you do that, brother, that doesn't punish things, that changes things.
I agree. I think if we got enough people, like you said, you got 5,000 in here. The impact just from last election. I'm not even talking about since you've been doing your I'm not sure your channel. Just from last election, the impact that yourself, Professor Black Truth, and Tariq has had on black men in particular, the black community also, but black men in particular, brother, it can't be quantified in words. And even right now, if the word went out, look, the same black men that we see being interviewed on the street, and they're saying, they kind of, we're on the fence, I might vote, I might not vote. If they say, look, I'm not voting for the Democrats under no condition. Why? Because they've been disrespectful intentionally to the black community at the point of costing some of our lives, and we want to punish them. And that's not to say that we for Trump, but at the very least, we know what the Republican Party has been historically. Just don't like us. But see, when you got somebody that's all cozy up with you, that you invite into your house to eat, and they're around your kids, and then you find out they molesting your kids, and then they stab you in the back. You want to hurt them. That retribution is different.
Brother, I can certainly understand that, but I would admonish you, if you're in warfare. Right. You want to keep your talking to a minimum, to be totally honest. It's more important what you do. Understand something. What we do in November is more important than all the talking that's been done for the previous 4 years. What you do in that day. And it's even more powerful when there's a lot less talking going on. Because there's another thing is that black folk tend to talk, and then it turns into venting. And once it becomes that, then that's a huge energy dissipator, and they've been using that for decades. I would just say that I would say you're the right idea there, but it's much more important what we do. If that's what we feel, I would be happy if we never talked to another television camera again, and then when it was time to get up and do, we let our actions do all of our talking. That would actually be a lot more effective, because if they're like, okay, these folks ain't even talking to us anymore, they're just getting up and doing things. Folks take you real seriously then. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Very, very important to be able to do that. Very, very important to be able to do that, where you have an agenda and you just make it plain. It's like, okay, we're just going to go ahead and do this here when you're on code, because that's what everybody else does. They talk to themselves. They don't really talk to the media like that. The Asian community don't talk to the media like that. The Chinese community doesn't talk to the media like that. They talk to each other. Arabs don't talk to the media like that. They talk to each other. And then they say, okay, we got the game plan. This is what we going to do. Everybody on code, break. And it becomes that. Caller America code 412. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Good evening, Jason. My name is Robert. I'm calling from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
All right, Robert from Pittsburgh. What's on your mind?
As I go through our city, I see Afghanis, Ukrainians, illegals, Indians, Asians. I see these people with a smug, satisfied demeanor on their countenance. They are relishing that their white skin gives them superiority over the black group that's targeted for permanent underclass. We enable this smugness by being caught in permanent adolescence. Black men and women grow up to be men and women. Einstein gave his definition of insanity. Are we insane? You black men and women, if you vote to support an illegitimate government, you are treasonous. Black people, we are extremely fortunate that people like Jason Black, Tariq, Vicky Diller, Professor Black Truth, Black Alpha, and all the elders who have transitioned have given us and guided us. The black media is passing the baton for justice for us. We are so fortunate to have people like Jason Black and others. For black people who still vote for the Democrats are treasonous again and will be guilty of eating their dead brother's flesh. Every video and lecture that the black media is presenting should be shared with at least 10 people, and these 10 people should forward to 10 more, etc. The last people who are not conscious, or the lost people that are not conscious, lost is because we haven't found them. So we got to find them.
I want to address what you said there. And I want everybody to understand what I'm going to say here right now, and this will be a bit uncomfortable, but I understand it. Folks, most of the old generation, that civil rights generation, that baby boomer generation, I want you all to understand something. Treason doesn't bother them. This is the part that, painful as it might be, you're going to have to accept that. That's why 15 years ago, I have never focused on converting them. Never. I focused on the next generation because that's why I tried to give you all as many anecdotes and examples as I could where you working with, old Willie Earl, at your job. Willie Earl and Percy Earl and Wilfred Earl, you working with them at your job, and they're the ones sitting there smiling when Miss Ann come in. Hey, Miss Ann, how you doing there? Oh, how the kids is? And then sitting up here looking at you. Y'all niggas just lazy back here. You can't convert him. He's a black white supremacist. You can't convert him. So you're the things that you're talking about concepts of honor and character. And what I've been trying to let you all know, the bastard baby making, cocaine snorting, interracial sexual access prioritizing generation, man, they don't have a concept of that. Their concept is they're the children of the World War II generation, spoiled brats down to the last. They out for themselves. They did not care a thing about generational wealth, don't care about it now. When they had a chance to get drugs and get turned up, they smoked it up and sold off the property. And what I'm telling all of y'all is I'm not going to have you in a situation where you are waiting for some sort of camaraderie that doesn't exist. The older generation has no problem that they've already accepted being treacherous and treasonous. It doesn't bother them. So what I'm saying is when you get a group of them together, they're at the church, you've got a congregation of traitors. They don't feel some kind of way. They don't feel ashamed. They're all traitors. It's like the old saying, we're all killers over here. They're all traitors over there. And they're perfectly comfortable being it.
We have to get out of this selfishness right now. I know it sounds idealistic, and I understand that. But when you have these feelings within inside you, being of a warrior class, my people, we're not just going to lay down and let them walk over us. So even though, I agree 100% what you said, and some people you can't reach. So the only thing we can do is to let our light shine so the people who are lost can find the way.
Well, hopefully we've succeeded at doing that. According to the polls, we're making progress. We are not where we want to be, but we are definitely making progress to it. And like I said, I know this can be difficult. In the chat room, Miss Incognita said that she's gotten into trouble with her family. I get that. I get that every week. I get somebody contacting me every week to tell me about how simply standing on our square for this has brought them into conflict with their family. And the first thing you have to ask is, how in the hell could you possibly be talking about what's in your family's best interest, bring you into conflict with them? And I'm like, boy, you're going to have to accept the brutal reality that your family sees what is in your best interest is contrary to what's in theirs. You want more. That's the problem with you. Those of you listening to me here, the problem that your families have with you is that you want more. You're not just content to mark time. You're not just content to get the bare minimum. You are here to get everything you're supposed to get. And as far as they're concerned, they've decided to go along with the program and say, okay, I'll just scrap and scrape the crumbs off the floor. And you saying, I ain't gonna be no damn crumb eater. They're saying this nigga over here is causing problems for the rest of us. You gonna mess it up for the rest of us. That's what they say. And that's why you're not gonna make no headway with them. That's why it's not gonna work. You got a few within their generation who are on code. They need to get with us. The ones from the civil rights generation who are on code with us, they got to join with us. But then again, they already joined with us. They already on code. They got to get on code with us. We do not have to get on code with the civil rights generation. Those in the civil rights generation who are on code got to come to us, because we going to lead this. We are going to lead this. We've been leading it. We've been making progress. We changed the whole damn dynamic. They lend their strength to our cause, but that is what it's going to be going forward. That's it. Caller America code 919. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, Jason. This is Chris from Augusta, Georgia.
Okay, Chris from Augusta, what's on your mind?
You know, brother, when I hear these conversations about people talking about, well, you know, we Biden versus Trump and whatever, it's asinine to me, because the reality is, last time I checked, the lesser of two evils is still evil. And neither one of these people or the organizations or parties that they represent have ever really done anything for Black people. But I can document, and it's been documented, all the things that they have done to Black people. And so for us to be having a conversation, and when I say us, I'm talking about Black people who actually give a damn about the progress of Black people and reparations that we are owed, and the respect and the justice that is due. For us to be having a conversation about things like that, it boggles my damn mind why we even wasting our damn time with the conversation whether, well, you know what, this white supremacist is better than that white supremacist.
Well, because that's the trick bag that these political parties, and Malcolm talked about this. Hell, Marcus Garvey talked about this, but Malcolm talked about this. That's the trick bag that they put us into. They both sit up here and play off of each other, and then in public, and then when they get behind closed doors, they both conspire about how they're going to neutralize you. So that's Agreed. What it ends up being there. In public, they pretend like one of them was for you and one of them was against you. But then no matter which one you vote for, you never make progress. Why not? Because both of them are against you. So the real issue is to prove that you can do something different. You can vote Democrat, you can vote Republican, or you can vote Black empowerment. The real issue is, can you prove with your vote that you're willing to do something different? I'll let you have the last word.
I choose to vote Black empowerment, and here's the thing. My wife and I, you know, we're not from Augusta. We moved to Augusta. I'm originally a New Yorker, and you know, I lived in New York at a time when the exonerated five were, you know, when that whole situation went down. And I remember as a high school student opening up the New York Times editorial when Donald Trump had talked about how these young men, these innocent young men, should have been executed for a crime they did not commit. And if black people who are talking about, well, we want Trump, have ever not known about this or forgotten about the fact that this man hates black people just as much as
okay, well, here's the problem with what you're saying. And let's be clear about something here. Yusuf Salam is not somebody I talk about. Yusuf Salam is someone I talk to. So let me be clear about that. You talk about the Central Park Five and the Exonerated Five. Well, this is a man I talk to. And now he's on the council and everything, and that's great. That's exactly what I want. I couldn't think of a better person to be in that position. But let's be clear about something here. As when it comes to politics, we can't have that attitude because we have no permanent friends nor permanent enemies, only permanent enemies.
I agree with that.
Okay,
I agree with that.
Calm down, sir. You're not the host. Calm down. We have no permanent friends. We have no permanent enemies, only permanent interests. My issue with Donald Trump would be if he has not addressed these things, because I'm much more concerned about where we're going than where we've been. Now, as far as the Central Park Five, he can be as loud in newspapers wailing at the universe as he wishes to be, even if he's dead ass wrong. The issue was not Donald Trump in the newspapers. The issue was the judge. The issue was the prosecutor. That was the issue. Donald Trump was neither a judge nor a prosecutor. He certainly was a person cheerleading on the sidelines. He was neither a judge nor a prosecutor. And what I'm saying is that, okay, moving forward here, and here's where we get things messed up at. If these people are going to be in power, there's only one circumstance under which I check out. And that is if there's people we can't work with. Because what you're then doing is saying we're going to write off the next 4 years. I don't do that capriciously. I don't sit up here and say we're going to write off a whole election cycle because I'm capricious about it. That ain't strategy. I'm not here throwing a temper tantrum. What I'm saying is if we are going to write off a whole election cycle, it better be because we had no choice. When Joe Biden got elected in 2020, I didn't write off the next 4 years. What I said was, okay, all you Bidenites, this is your time to shine. This is your chance to prove that everything we said has been wrong, and this is your chance to give us a viable alternative since now you got the reins of power, you got exactly what you wanted, you got all the houses of government, everything's where you want to be. Now this is your time to prove us wrong, and they did exactly the opposite. That was why I wrote off the next 4 years. And when the pandemic happened, they showed us we can go take out $2 trillion and we're going to do nothing for black people. At that point, I'm not writing off the next 4 years. You're writing off the next 4 years because you had every opportunity to do so. So as far as Donald Trump is concerned, my question for my people is I've got to be cold and analytical about that. And my question has to be, okay, what is he offering? Now, if he's offering something, then I would be negligent if I did not consider it. If he's offering nothing, then I would be negligent if I supported him. But it's going to depend on what he's offering.
I'd like to ask you one question, though. And I'm not being combative. I'm just curious. Given everything that you just said, we already know everything that Joe Biden is not offering, right? But how can and I guess.
Okay, brother, we're short on time here. Let me find out what's your question.
So the question is, what has Donald Trump said that he's offering to black people?
So far, I haven't heard anything, sir. Which is why I just sat here and said, okay, sir, calm yourself down. You're very emotional. Calm yourself down. You're supposed to be a grown man. This is the last time I'm going to tell you, calm yourself down, because I'm not going to have people having you talking over the host. Calm yourself, and this is the last time I'm going to inform you. Calm yourself down. The feminine energy is off the scales. Calm yourself down. I already said, if he offers something, I would be remiss to consider it. Nobody said he was offering anything, so you're being very effeminate and very emotional. Nobody said he was offering nothing. You're the one sitting up here trying to be some sort of political activist against him when nobody said whether we were supporting him. Nobody said that.
I voted for him the first time he ran. I voted for him the first time he ran.
Congratulations. I hope you got what you voted for.
And for you know what? All right, brother. You got an agenda. You talking about feminine energy.
Okay, sir, get off my phone. This is New York. Sometimes y'all have some fellas who ain't wearing their thongs and oiling up their butt cheeks, and then other places you do. Folks, listen to me very carefully about what I'm about to say, because you have these pseudo-Democrats and pseudo-Democrat family people out there who talk like this guy. Let me say this in no uncertain terms. I am very well aware of Donald Trump's record of racism. I talked about it throughout his entire first presidency. And let me also say this, if voting for Donald Trump would get us reparations, I would do it tomorrow morning. Hell, I would stop the program tonight and go push the lever for him. If Donald Trump is the one going to give us reparations, then I would stop the program right here, right now, right where it is, and I would go get that done for my people. I don't need Donald Trump to apologize for the Central Park 5. I don't need him to apologize for discriminating against folks in housing. We'll take the money and we'll call that his apology. So if that's whatever it takes to get the job done, some of these folks here are emotionally invested in, well, I'm thinking about the morality of it here and think about the principles of it here. Let me tell y'all something. We are 14% of the population in a system of white supremacy here. You ain't gonna get a damn thing done in this wicked system without shaking the hand of the devil at some point. Some of these folks in their damn fantasy worlds want to get on phones and vent and whine and moan. And this is why black females don't trust in black males up there in New York. They're very good for whining, but not very effective for getting something done. You live in a system of white supremacy. It is wicked and evil. And you telling me we gonna get some things done without shaking the devil's hand. And ain't nothing but devils around us. Okay, well, if you ain't gonna do it, it depends. If Trump is offering something on the table, I'll go do it. So far, I haven't seen it, which is why, unlike him, I'm not emotional. I'm not sitting up here whining and moaning and putting on my damn satin thong and getting emotional about it there. Dude, nobody's defending Trump. What are you triggered by? Trump is wrong. We can't support that. You're wrong. Okay, well, I'll support whoever's offering us something. And if at some time Trump is actually offering us something, I will support it. But I'm not supporting Trump. I'm supporting my agenda. And if Trump supports the agenda, then I'm voting for that. I'm not voting for a candidate. I'm voting for my agenda. I'm voting for my agenda. Folks who want to sit up here and whine about the foibles of the politicians and get nothing done. Joe Biden would have my support today if he had done something. Joe Biden would have my damn support today if he had done something. Well, if Trump starts deporting people, don't get me wrong, that would be a major step in the right direction. It's better than nothing. It's certainly much more than Biden has done. Biden has brought them over to create a problem. So if Trump were to start deporting people, that would certainly start clearing out the problem. That would start clearing out one, but it would still leave a bigger one in place. And if we don't ever get, it's not about the absence of bad, it's about the presence of good. It's not about the absence of bad, it's about the presence of good. And if we don't deal with shoring up where we're lacking at, that's what's missing. So let me just be clear to some of the folks out there who are emotionally invested in their political parties or emotionally invested in their track record of activities. I don't fall in love with no politicians. I don't do that. I don't do that at all. I don't have an affinity for them. And one of the things you have to realize with politics is that it is also your job to beat your opponents into submission. And a fully revitalized black economy goes a hell of a long way towards getting that done. What do I expect from Donald Trump? Do I expect him to apologize for the Central Park Five? No, I don't. Well, Jason, why not? Because could I believe him if he did? See, this is where we get into arguments that don't matter. I've never asked Joe Biden to apologize for 3 strikes. You had Bill Clinton and they want to apologize for slavery and this, that, and the other. Okay, I didn't ask you to apologize for it because I don't know if I believe you. So that's why, you know what? Let me save you the trouble. I didn't ask you for an apology because I don't require it because I don't know if you're sincere. Now, if you pass reparations, I believe that's sincere. Yeah, I'm holding the check in my hands. Well, as a valid check. Well, this looks sincere to me. I don't know if your apology is sincere, but I know this check is. See, that's the time we need to be on. That's progress. Sitting around trying to get some emotional satisfaction of trying to cleanse these people's souls. I ain't trying to redeem no Donald Trump. I'm not trying to make Donald Trump into a redeemable person, and I'm damn sure not trying to make Joe Biden into one. Nor Bill Clinton. And those of you who've been following me now for over a decade and a half, you know this is what I've said to you over the last decade and a half. I've never changed my position and it will not alter nor waver tonight. I don't care what these people are, quote unquote, at heart. I'm not looking for friends. I ain't looking for a second dad. I'm not looking for a mentor, and I wouldn't go to Joe Biden or Donald Trump if I was. I'm looking for the tangible benefits and restoration of my people. And if I thought that supporting Donald Trump would do that, then I would support him. If I thought it would. There are many black folk who believe, they're like, well, you know what? We'd rather get something rather than nothing. Trump is talking about deporting some of these illegals. I'd like to see that, especially in places where folks are getting overrun with them. In New York and Chicago and Atlanta and the Carolinas and DC and Philadelphia and Dallas and coming to a city near you, if it's not already there. There are some folk who are saying, you know what, we're getting overrun with illegals. Let me vote for Trump so I can clear some of them on out. And for them, that actually is something. I'm not going to sit here and second guess them about that. For some of them, that actually is a benefit to them. That's something that they could use. And for them, they're like, you know what, I'd like to vote for that. Let's grab the tethers and get them up on out of here. I would love to vote for that. Okay, if that's what they want to vote for, I'm not standing in their damn way. It's Joe Biden's job to let us vote for him. And if he doesn't win, then he lost the election on his own. And it's Donald Trump's job to give us an incentive to vote for him. And if he fails at this, well, he lost it fair and square. But it isn't because they didn't hear and didn't know what it was we were looking for. Call America code 860. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, Jason. Brian from Orlando.
All right, Brian from Orlando. What's on your mind?
I've been following your channel for the past 2 months, and it has been very fascinated with what the things that you talk about. I never realized that that racism was so on purpose. I always thought that yes, here and there, like people quietly, but this is done on purpose. So, and it really blew my mind, and that's why I've been watching your videos. And I have a question about tonight's topic. About sorry, I'm a little nervous. You said that on the TV, I noticed that you put there the people speaking, talking about this point of how they have this money, but yet they somehow lose the money somehow without explanation, and all these things. And my point is, like, if the people are on code, right, and everybody gets on code on the same page, on the TV and everything, they can say anything they want, when they put it up there. Why is it? And also watching your videos, I wonder why then do they put that information publicly for people to know that? Why do they put it on the news for people to actually for black people
are you talking about the schools in Tennessee? Is that what you're referring to?
Yes.
I think he's referring to the HBCUs, and you're saying why would they put that on TV?
Yeah. Why do they put this information that could be it seems counterintuitive to put the information out there for people to actually notice, right? And they say, oh, look, this fund is going to illegals, and the other fund is going here and there. Do it. And
the thing is, there has to be an accounting of the money. So the real issue is for the HBCUs that you're referring to, they were documenting the money that they received. And that allows them, they're able then to show that, hey, this is how much we got. And then the folks start bull jiving about how much you were supposed to get. But that's because they were documenting it on their end. So that's where that comes from. So we keeping the problem in America is not tabulating or having an accounting for the funds. That's not the issue. The issue, because in America, white supremacy doesn't have to hide it. That's the big difference. A lot of folks have the misconception that white supremacy got to conceal everything. No. They do it out in the open. Look, when they gun black folk down, they do it out in the open. When they steal your money, they do it out in the open. When they redline your neighborhood, they do it out in the open. The system isn't, oh, you can't see us do it. The system is, I'm white and I say so. I'm redlining your block. Yeah, I'm breaking the law. I'm white and I say so. Now, what you gonna do about it? That's what they're doing. Take a look at Ron DeSantis down there in Florida with y'all. Ron DeSantis is not even pretending what he's doing is legal. He's not even pretending what he's doing is honorable. It's just, I'm the governor and I can sign on this, and what you niggas gonna do? This is what we're under. They come in and seize a black city. They come in Louisiana and want to take over New Orleans. Nah, brother, they do it right in front of you. It's never about, they don't have to hide it. They used to be coy and it's like play word games. The hour's too short. Their numbers are dwindling. The hour's too short. They can't afford to sit up here and be coy anymore. Now it's just, all right, we gangstering through here. We just gangstering through here. Yeah, we done took the money here. What you gonna do about it? Yeah, arrest them niggas over there. What you gonna do about it? Yeah, shoot that fella down over there. What you gonna do about it? This is where we at.
I understand.
No, I mean, I know you're so blatant. Can't you see that? And the real thing is, if it reaches a flash point, that's where they get worried about that. That's where they get worried about.
It is like an organized crime. Like, let's say a building of a company, and then that executive, which they owe the people once a year, let's say a bonus check or something, right? And then all of a sudden the bonus check disappears, and they don't know where it's at. And then all of a sudden a few days go by, and then they put in the bulletin in the lobby of the employees, they put, the executives, they have money right for you guys for the bonus for the last month, but it disappears somehow. And
the executives got the bonus. Yeah, your bonus disappeared, and the executives are getting a double bonus this year. And you're like, wait a minute, I couldn't help but notice. I ain't getting nothing, but the executives' bonuses just went up. It seems like you took the money from me and gave it to them. And you make a very good analogy. It's analogous to corporate America. Yeah, we took your money. We took it from the workers. We keeping it for us. Who gonna check us, boo? Who gonna come after us? Yeah, we took your damn money. Yeah, we gangstered it. Who gonna come get us? So, yeah, that's where we're at today. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. We appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, look, folks, they're not even being underhanded about it anymore. It's just like, yeah, we gangstering through here. We gangstering your stuff. We sure are. Yeah. What Ice Cube say? First they your rings, now they my rings. Yeah, we doing it. Who gonna get us? In Tennessee, yeah, Ford wants to build a multi-billion-dollar plant. Oh, we're gonna take over your town now. We gangstering through. We gangstering up on you. Yeah, we doing that. Yeah, your history books ain't no slavery. Y'all was just working. We gangstering it. What you gonna do? We gangstering it. Yeah, we taking your neighborhood, eminent domain. We gangstering. What you gonna do about it? What you gonna do about it? Damn right we taking it. Redlining, discrimination, loans. We gangstering. Okay, what you gonna do? Yeah, we gangstering you. What we gonna do? What you gonna do about it? We ain't gotta hide it. We can keep proper accounting. It takes too much energy to lie to you niggas. Don't y'all understand that? It takes too much energy to lie to you. Yeah, there the numbers are right there. What you go? Y'all saw Governor Bill Lee. Well, that was then. We gonna deal with this right now. Are we gangstering through? We just gangstering up on you. Call America 301. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Nicole. I'm calling from PG, Maryland.
All right, Nicole, what's on your mind?
I just wanted to make 2 points. I wanted to say you're right. The previous caller from New York was emotional from the time he got on the call to the time that you dismissed him. He's more worried about being friends and adoration from white supremacists than conducting business.
Well, he's more concerned about if they're honorable people. And I'm like, politics is not where you go looking for honorable people. Not politics as practiced in America. That's a fool's errand. You're supposed to go there to get benefits and resources for your people. You can judge the honorable folk when you get back home, but you're in the wrong damn place if you're using a measuring stick of how honorable the person is. They're all demons over here. Now, are we going to get something done or are we not?
Exactly. Totally agree. It's business. As long as the business is on the up and up, meaning I'm getting what I need for my community, what y'all do in y'all's community, be immoral, whatever, as long as I'm getting what I need, then that's great. It's a transaction. It's business. You don't have to like me. I don't have to like you.
But did you notice how that also dovetailed off that other caller? Did you notice how that also dovetailed off of him when he was saying, yeah, but if we give reparations, what if somebody in a relationship with a non-black person, right, do we give them, what are they going to do with their check? And I'm like, dude, do you realize you just lost the plot? Aren't you supposed to be focused on what you're going to do with yours? You're worried about the honorability of the people around you. I'm just saying, now, this is what I mean about black folk trying to take it as their mission to save the world. We're going to be the moral police who are going to redeem the world and its honorability. And in the process, we don't get nothing done. Instead of you being focused on what you got in front of you, we're trying to make other people better human beings, make other people honorable, instead of making ourselves more powerful so that whether those people are honorable or not, they can't harm us.
Right. It's like they come up with these weird, what if? It's like focus on the matter at hand. Everybody is not going to make it. Everybody get their money. Some people go and trick it off, whatever. And I would hope that we all, like you mentioned earlier, not put ourselves back into that position. But we can't be worried about the small percentages opposed to, the larger percentage of everybody getting their money. They do this weird. It's just so weird. It's like you're talking yourself out of it. It's just it sounds defeated.
Well, think about it this way.
They're defeated, making excuses.
Well, think about it this way. What if somebody does get their reparations check? They married to a black woman, they divorce her and go marry a white woman. I mean, okay, what do we do then? Are we supposed to sit up here and follow everybody around to make sure that they're operating within the moral framework that we be looking for? I mean, where does that stop? Okay, if they weren't with one before, right, they could just go check out and be like the NBA players. They can check out and go reverse and do a switcheroo on you later. Are we supposed to just follow them around for the rest of their lives and do that? I'm like, no, that's a pointless squandering of resources. Focus is one of the most important resources you have. If we're focused on what we're supposed to be doing, we're not worried about what everybody else is doing there. Nothing is going to be perfect. There's always going to be some lossage. There's always going to be, some squandering some. But if you're focused on what you're doing, you would be powerful enough that doesn't even matter. And what I'm really saying is it comes to a matter of diversion. These folks are not used to power, Nicole. Folks are not used to power. And so when they're still operating as powerless people. Powerless people look over the other folks' shoulders and gossip. Ooh, what are they doing over there? That's what powerless people do. Powerful people implement a plan and a strategy and get to work. They're not sitting up here, what are them folks over there doing? Okay, dude, and how does that help you? Even if you could prove that's wrong or whatever, how is that helping you? Well, that's not the point. Everybody need to be on go. It's okay. You're trying to police folk and you don't have any power now. Can I imagine what good is power going to do you?
Right. Right, and that's something that we have to step into. Stop being so scary, because it makes no sense. And the second point I wanted to make about the Democrats, as you mentioned, what was very interesting, I'm seeing a lot of black pundits on the news. They're trying to talk up the fact that the polls are down. Be that as it may, small polls or whatever, they understand that they're losing. They go from, black men are misinformed, or they just don't know, they don't understand. They don't want to vote. No, they don't want to vote because you're not putting anything out for us to vote, for them to vote for. Then they go to, black men, can you please vote? No, that tells me that you've been listening. You know exactly what's going on. So if you want to, quote unquote, save democracy, you would pay reparations. You would do what black people are asking. You would put out an anti-black bill. That's what you would do. So don't come around us. Don't come here in the fourth quarter. Don't come here after the game, because this is what they're doing right now, which is, usually they come around, they're, talk out and seeing black people, talking to black people. But now it's like, now they're begging, and it's too late. Normally around this time, they're just talking about, they're out kissing black babies, but now they're really worried. They're worried now. And if they want to save democracy, like they say that they do, then they would pay us reparations and they would save democracy.
Well, if they were really concerned about that. So everything they say, we bring it back to, by the way, reparations to fix that. Oh, I got a leaky faucet. Reparations to fix that. I got a runny nose. Reparations to fix that. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. In the chat room there, no, I don't think that's what he was doing. I think he was referring to, because you can't have a biracial child unless one of the folk there comes from the soil. So, unless you got one parent who is FBA, that's what you're going to have. So, do you give that parent a check? It's not just them and the child. They're both eligible for one. So if you are the descendant of them, you're eligible for it. Although it's really, I would really want to have a situation where whether or not they identify, because that's going to be an important thing there too. There are certain details that have to be worked out in that regard, but if you got a parent who's there, that's going to pretty much take that. And how do the children identify? That's going to be the next thing. Caller from Area Code 501, you're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's going on, Jason? It's Jay from Flint, Michigan, man.
Jay from Flint, Michigan. What's on your mind?
Just wanted to give you a big shout out, man, and just to go ahead and let you know, and all the other black media outlets out there who keep us informed and keep us abreast of all the thing that's going on right now in these politics and what they happened before. And one thing I just wanted to point out during the broadcast that you have today, especially about what these politicians are looking for as far as black males and their voting base and black people in general, that just because they're also reporting that our voter numbers are dropping, our voter numbers are dropping for the Democrats. I think it's a whole lot much more worse than that they're underreporting it, because most definitely you teach us and show us the way, but most definitely we take that knowledge out and back to our families and to our communities, and we teach others and basically game them and ask them the same questions and get our answer that we get answered here on the broadcast and on our different platforms. So I know I can speak most definitely for myself that I most definitely have brought at least 5 other black voters in my family away from the Democrat Party, away from voting, not to vote Republican, but just saying, just asking the right questions. What are these people going to do for us? What are these people promising us? What are they going to actually accomplish in terms of black progress while they're watching this? And they can't in no way, shape, form, or fashion defend the things that Joe Biden and these Democrats have done. I ask them all the time, hey, you see the money they gave to Ukraine? Hey, you see the money they're giving to Israel? You see the money that they're giving to all these illegal immigrants? They're seeing it and they can't deny it, and it's just shameful even when a couple of them may try, but I know for damn sure.
I want you to understand what it is they're concerned about. They're concerned because this is a war of margins. This is a battle of margins. Mm-hmm. And the reason why they're focusing on the black vote is because Obama won handily. He won handily in 2008 and he won handily in 2012. And everybody knows they attributed that to the black vote. So you had 14% of the population that was super galvanized. And they have always wanted to get some more of that sweet, gooey goodness. That's like, wow, that's a guaranteed electoral win. They haven't been able to get that type of resonance since. So every election, instead of it being a slam dunk, it's a damn knife fight right up until the very end. And in politics, that's not really what you want because it indicates diminishing returns. Now, here's where it gets deadly. Not only do you have a black population that used to give you the elections one-handedly and is now just like, yeah, we're kind of apathetic. You now have an energy. It's the reverse now. The Trump voters, the MAGAs, are energized this time. They're excited this time. They can't wait to get to the polls this time and drag 3 or 4 people with them. So the energy has shifted is the problem. You want black folk to vote for Biden out of desperation, whereas under Obama, black folk were just naturally inclined and eager to go vote for him, for the Democrats. With Trump, it's exactly the opposite. His base is energized, enthusiastic. It's not going to take any work or fight to get them out there. As a matter of fact, if you all have driven across the country, and I have, you still see Trump signs out there that have been up since 2020.
All everywhere.
You see Trump signs. If you go up 95, 20, 10, 40, 30, you see Trump signs that have been 70. Up since 2020. The signs have been up ever since then. They've been waiting. Like some demonic horde beneath the ground waiting to spring up from the earth. They've been waiting all this time to go do that again. They are very enthusiastic. And Biden knows this. Their pollsters know this. And they're like, that's not going to get smaller between now and election day. That's going to get bigger. So do you see signs that you've got that kind of solid base for support for you too? Oh, you can't afford for anything to go soft. So recognize what the difference there is. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 225. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Jay from Baton Rouge, by way of Woodville, Mississippi.
All right, Jay from Baton Rouge. What's on your mind?
The call from New York, man. Look, just for someone to make a comment about something, that don't mean anything. It's the one that controls the pen that writes the narrative. Like Joe Biden helped write the 3-strike law bill. Go on YouTube, look what he said on the Senate floor, where he talked about how your kids and your grandparents know those people. Who do you think he was talking to? Wasn't that many illegal aliens, immigrants in this country at that time. Then 6 years later, he helped the Clintons write the 94 crime bill, like locked up generations of black men. In that same bill, it refers to kilos of cocaine. You got caught with 3 or 4 kilos of cocaine, only 5 years in jail and 6-year probation, because that's the drug the white boy was dealing. So what he said about the Central Park fine, they ain't carrying no weight, man. As you say, Jason, he wasn't a prosecutor or a lawyer, and I land my plane there. Thank you.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Oh, okay. I was trying to drop his, and I dropped another call there. Apologies there. Let me get caller America code 703. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah, Yusuf calling from Alexandria, Virginia.
All right, Yusuf from Alexandria, Virginia. What's on your mind?
Yeah, as a person that lives in the D.C. area, and
okay, Yusuf, what are we doing? Okay, and looks like his call dropped for some reason. All right, let me get caller from area code 410. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Dan from Annapolis, Maryland.
All right, Dan from Annapolis. What's on your mind?
Jason, when are you going to go ahead and just admit that you're bought and paid for by them goddamn Republicans and that you voted for Trump in the last election before you say anything? Remember last election, the day after, you sat us all down, wagged your finger, talked about, guys, I voted. Now, you sit up here all this time, dog. You talk all this stuff about we need to vote for the black agenda. Who's doing this and that for black people? Who's this, that, and the third? Who was pushing the black agenda last time?
Okay.
Jason, tell me that.
Official MGTOW. If you call me again, I'm gonna report you.
What you gonna do, dog? What are you gonna do? I've been told you pull up. So what you gonna do?
I'm going to report you.
Who you gonna report me to, dude?
So somebody out there, your mentally deranged nephew who somebody was touching on when he was a little kid, he's looking for a father figure in his life. I have no interest nor desire. He's got an unholy fixation here. Where my daddy? You can be my daddy. This is why your daddy left you, nigga. When you saw that Buick pull off when you were 4 years old and he left your little whiny ass standing in the middle of the street there, this is why he left, because you got too much of your mammy in you. So there's the reason that happened. But yes, if he wants to be stalking people on the phones and whatnot, we'll deal with you. There's some different folk who'll deal with you. But yeah, it's just somebody's whiny ass little mama's boy, and it's just Diddy used to come over to the house, and he used to have Uncle Diddy come over, and his daddy was trying to teach him how to play kickball, and he was switching his hips. Dad told him, "Okay, here's how you kick the football," and he's throwing his pom poms and telling his dad, "I don't like those games like that." And they're like, "Oh, hell. Why don't you go get me some ice cream?" And daddy's just like, "Okay, I'm going to go get some ice cream right quick." And then daddy drove off around that corner. That's the last time you seen him. Yeah. Now he's on the internet trying to recruit a daddy. I want to talk to some real men. Okay, the real men got rid of you too. It's going to be very interesting here going into the election season here. As I've warned you all here before, the Democrats are very much worried. Biden is very much shaking in his boots, and it's all coming back down to us. Do not believe Jason Black. Believe the rest of these people. Do not believe me. Believe them. They're the ones you need to believe, not me. The folks who are adversaries of ours are confirming everything you heard from me. And as we're getting closer to the election, they are showing that they are getting more nervous by the day. And all we've had to do is maintain what we're doing. We haven't had to fight anymore. We just had to maintain what we're doing. I know it never happens fast enough for any of us. You have to understand that that is a recipe and a requisite of power too. You don't always get your way. You're dealing with variables in society that you don't control. These are other citizens. They're not your children. You can't tell them what to do. You can't force them to do that. They are pursuing their interests, and in many cases, they're trying to undermine yours. We understand that. But I want you to start properly gauging and measuring when you're making progress, and that's where we are. It never happens fast enough to please all of us. It's not supposed to. It's supposed to make sure that when it goes into place, it sticks and stays. Our job is to stay focused. I want to go ahead and send a shout out here to everyone who has has contributed to support tonight's program. My man, Mr. Richburg. Thank you very much for your support, brother. We appreciate that. Brother Keith. I hadn't seen Keith in a minute. Brother Keith showed up tonight. I hadn't seen him in a minute here. Welcome back, brother. We appreciate that. Brenda and everyone else here who has contributed on tonight's program or become a member, Soldier Boy TD, and everyone else, thank you very much here. And if you are new here to the Black, I'm sorry, the BS is real gave some money for the batteries fund. He gave some for the batteries fund. So next time we have something there, brother, if they need they need a contribution for the batteries, I'll see if I can throw them one on Amazon. I'll see if I can ship them out something from Amazon to go ahead and get those smoke detectors taken care of, because I would hate for something to happen here. If you are new here to the Black channel, welcome to the Haven of Intelligent Black Thought. We do this every weekend. Click that red subscribe button. Click that yellow notification bell. Join us each and every time that we are here. If you have not been to our website, blackchannelfilms.com, you want to go and check out our groundbreaking, best-selling documentary work, 7 a.m., Gentrified, Race War, soon to be 8 a.m., all on DVD and streaming. Go to blackchannelfilms.com. That is blackchannelfilms.com. Just a very brief word here. We are going to have some new things here happening here. We're going to get some stuff restarted here, as a matter of fact. So for those of you who've been paying attention here from the beginning of the year, there will be some changes here on the Black Channel coming here soon. So be watchful for that as well. We're going to be kicking things off here for 8 a.m., so be watchful for that also. We're going to be giving some more information about how we're going to do that and for a special offer in that regard. So keep your eyes and your ears open here. Thank you all for joining us here tonight. Thank you for watching live or recorded. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing. Thank you for contributing. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, Black is the future, and the future is uncompromising.